Honorable Minister of State for Science and Technology and Earth Sciences Independent Charge and the Honorable Minister of State in the Prime Minister's Office. A very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is his leadership that continues to strengthen India's quantum leaps in space, science, technology and governance. Let's have another loud round of applause for the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji. Very warm welcome to you, sir. We are also being graced by Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space, Chairman of the Space Commission and Chairman ISRO. And I invite Dr. Pavan Goenka, Chairman in Space. Their names? I don't have panel discussion. Give me the names. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister is first taking a picture with the astronauts. Ladies and gentlemen, may we also please have a huge round of applause for the Gagan Yatris who are here with us on the dais. And I invite you to please take your seats as well as soon as we reset the dais. Dr. Pavan Goenka is here. Ladies and gentlemen, today is truly a very historic day. This is the second National Space Day celebrations, and the phrase infinite possibilities speaks to the horizons now opening before us. And we are truly grateful to the Honorable Minister of State for Space for gracing this occasion, the inaugural ceremony, with his presence. I would also once again request Dr. Pavan Goenka, Chairman in Space, to please join us on to the dais. Dr. Goenka. So he's going to be joining us very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So namaskar and a very heartfelt welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the inaugural session of National Space Day 2025. Let's have a huge round of applause, yes, as we partake in the celebrations of the National Space Day 2025. Dr. Pavan Goenka, Chairman in Space, also here with us. May I invite you, sir, to please take your seat. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we gather not only to commemorate, but to propel India's celestial odyssey, where ancient wisdom meets modern innovation and ambition blends with cosmic purpose. India's journey into the cosmos is a saga deeply anchored in our ancient wisdom. Our forebears, the early astronomers, meticulously charted eclipses, comets, and planetary alignments, integral to Vedic studies, dating back to 1500 BCE and even earlier. And that timeless legacy continues to bloom as India stands tall today as a global space power, driven by innovation, guided by vision, and propelled by fearless aspiration. And since our first National Space Day in 2024, India has not stood still, and the cosmos has echoed back our advancements. The SpaceX mission showcased orbital mastery with a successful docking maneuver in orbit. The Aditya L1 Solar Observatory has completed a year of groundbreaking solar studies, while GSLV F-15 proudly marked ISRO's 100th mission. The NISAR mission, launched on July 30th, 2025, will start delivering unmatched Earth imaging for disaster response and climate monitoring. Preparations for Gaganyaan-1, India's first uncrewed human spaceflight test, are advancing for launch later this year. And alongside, NSIL has realized second demand-driven satellite, and InSpace has successfully enabled India's first public-private partnership in satellite building. And I'd also like to share with you that ISRO has unveiled the concept of a next-generation heavy-lift launch vehicle, paving the way for realizing Indian space station and crewed lunar missions. And writing a new chapter of human presence in space, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla became the first Indian to visit the International Space Station, completing the Axiom 4 mission with over 60 experiments and 20 outreach events, calling it India's second orbit. And here he is seated on the dais with us. Ladies and gentlemen, 23rd August remains a date etched forever in golden letters in India's history, the day Chandrayaan-3 touched down on the moon's southern hemisphere. And that moment was not just a technological triumph, it was an emotional milestone engraved into the heart of every Indian when our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji declared it as National Space Day. This day is not merely a celebration, it is a reaffirmation of resolve, a day to strengthen our commitment and to chart the future of India at the frontiers of space. And the theme of this year's National Space Day encapsulates the spirit of Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, ancient wisdom to infinite possibilities. And this reminds us that our journey is both civilizational and futuristic, rooted in heritage, yet rising to embrace boundless horizons. As we celebrate, we also recommit ourselves to touching not just the moon and beyond, but touching lives here on Earth through the power, promise, and purpose of India's space story. It is a journey that draws strength from our ancient wisdom while opening doors to infinite possibilities. Now, to highlight the significance of this historic day and to welcome the Honorable Minister and our esteemed guests, it is my privilege to introduce and invite for the welcome address the Secretary, Department of Space, Chairman Space Commission, and Chairman ISRO, Dr. V. Narayanan. He's a distinguished propulsion scientist and rocket technologist. Dr. Narayanan started the scripting of a new chapter in India's space journey since January 2025. And under his visionary leadership, India's space program is scaling bold new frontiers from Chandrayaan-4 and Gaganyaan to India's first steps towards lunar bases and next-generation heavy-lift launch vehicles. It is his leadership that is shaping not only missions, but also the nation's place as a global space leader. Sir, we now request you to please address the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space, Chairman, Space Commission, and Chairman, ISRO.
Namaskar. Good morning. On behalf of the Department of Space, let me express our greetings on the occasion of National Space Day celebration to each and every one of you who are here. Honorable Minister of State, Jitendra Singh ji, Chairman in Space, Principal Scientific Advisor to PM, Secretaries of various departments, Space Commission member, Director, IASC, our former Chairman and Secretary Department of Space, under whose guidance the Chandrayaan-3 was successfully accomplished, Mr. Somanath sir, Directors of ISRO centers and units, Program Directors, Project Directors, Mr. Suklaji and all the 4 Gaganyaan-3s identified by Honorable Prime Minister, my dear friends from DOS ISRO family, and students, media, persons from media, very, very good morning to all of you. It is a great privilege and honor for me to welcome all of you and all the gatherings here for the second National Space Day celebration. When you see the National Space Day, I think we have to thank a couple of people. 23rd August 2023 was a historical day. India successfully landed, soft landed Chandrayaan-3 near the south pole of moon, and we became the only one country and first country successfully soft landed near the south pole of moon. On this occasion, first of all, I have to express our gratitude to all the people for that great achievement. Honorable Prime Minister of India, who is a visionary leader, and our minister, who was given directions and guidelines to carry out the space activities. It was Honorable Prime Minister who named the spot where the Chandrayaan-3 landed as the Sivasakti Point, also declared 23rd August as the National Space Day. And let us give a big hand and our gratitude to Honorable Prime Minister of India for declaring this as a National Space Day, also guiding us and directing us to take Indian space program to greater and greater heights to meet the Viksit Bharat 2047. Coming to our Honorable Minister of State, he is part of us. He is like our brother, like a guide, like a mentor. Almost alternate today, we discuss with him all the issues. And he is always guiding us in the best possible way. And he is with us as the chief guest today. So let us welcome him too. And when he was the minister, that time only the Chandrayaan-3 was successful. You can understand how much guideline and direction would have come from him. Coming to next person, when you talk about the Chandrayaan missions, the Chandrayaan-1, which found water molecule on the moon, was accomplished when the great people chairman, Madhav Nair was the chairman of ISRO. And then Chandrayaan-2, Dr. Sivan was in the forefront leading. Not only leading, Chandrayaan-2, you all know we could not soft land it, but we have placed the best camera of India in moon's orbit, the on-orbit high-resolution camera. The credit goes to Dr. Sivan and the entire team at that point of time. And when Chandrayaan-2, there was a setback. There was a national committee constituted, and I think a couple of members are here. There were a 10-member committee. And we were given a direction to complete the studies in 30 days and submit the report. And I want to tell dear friends, it was a Herculean task, but the committee worked almost only slept almost 3.5 hours per day. And a 1100-page report with 107 recommendation was submitted to then chairman Dr. Sivan. And today, entire thing is implemented. And the success came when Dr. Somanath was the chairman of ISRO. So let us give a big hand when Somanath led the entire team from the forefront for that great success. Then comes to the Mars orbiter mission. India is the only country and first country accomplished Mars orbiter mission in the first attempt. And Dr. Radhakrishnan, who was leading from the forefront. And let us also thank him on this occasion. And there are leaders. Dr. Kiran Kumar. Without Kiran Kumar, there is no interplanetary missions. Every mission, his hand was there. Chandrayaan-1, Chandrayaan-2, Mars orbiter mission, and Aditya, everywhere he was there. And of course, all our former chairmen, starting from Sarabhai to Professor Satish Dhawan to Professor U.R. Rao to Professor Menon to Dr. Kasturirangan, one of the greatest son of soil. So on this occasion, let me remember all of their contribution. Let me thank them on this fantastic day. And dear friends, after the last year's celebration was done here under the leadership of Dr. Somanath. And after the last year's celebration, lot of achievements and accomplishments. One of the major achievements is the sending our own KalingaNews to International Space Station, ISS. And it was again Honorable Prime Minister who was to be thanked. It was his idea that before sending the KalingaNews through our rocket, we should send one of them to the International Space Station. And his vision led to a great success. Today, ISRO team has successfully executed, and Suklaji has gone to the space station and come back safely. Let us give a big hand to Suklaji. When you talk about Suklaji, we should not forget 3 of his colleagues who are with us. Basically, we are having 4 people. I used to say, all the 4 people are equal to us, in par to us. And of course, finally, only one person got the opportunity to go to International Space Station. For that, we credit him. But then, all the 4 people contribution is equal. Let us give a big hand to all the 4 KalingaNews on this occasion. And coming to the achievements and accomplishments, after the last Space Day celebration, Aditya L1 is successfully commissioned in the orbit. And Aditya L1, by placing that India becoming one among 4 countries having a satellite for studying the sun, Till today, 15 terabit scientific data we have received, and we have put for the entire scientific community. And it was SpaceX docking experiment. January 16 was a historical day. We have successfully docked the 2 satellites rotating with 28,400 km per hour. And India becoming one among 4 countries demonstrating that great technology today. And 29th January 2025 was another historic day. The 100th launch vehicle mission was successfully and precisely accomplished from India, and we are written in the golden letters of Indian space history. The 100th launch was the perfect success. And then comes to the NSR launch. NSR launch, as far as ISRO is concerned, it is a prestigious launch. Why it is a prestigious launch? 1963, November 21st, USA gave a tiny rocket for us to launch. And August 1st, 1975, we wanted to demonstrate mass communication through satellite technology. And 2,400 television sets were kept in 6 states in 2,400 villages. For that, a satellite signal was given by USA. Truly, we were 60 years behind advanced countries in the space program at that point of time. Last month 30th, the NSR satellite, NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar satellite. The L-band payload was realized by JPL NASA, and S-bands are by ISRO. The entire satellite was built by ISRO, and it was launched perfectly, successfully within 2 kilometer dispersion by Indian launcher, the GSLV Mark II vehicle. And today, dear friends, a country which was 60 years behind advanced spacefaring nations, we are rubbing shoulder to shoulder with the developed nations. And we are going to have a communication satellite of 6,500 kg, USA-built communication satellite, which is going to be launched within a couple of months. That speaks volume. When it comes to Honorable Prime Minister of our country, he is a different person with great tangential thinking. The vision, direction given by him, based on his vision, we are going to have a Chandrayaan 4 mission. We are going to have a Venus orbiter mission. We are going to have a space station called BAS. By 2035, India will have a space station on its own, and the first module will be lifted off by 2028. And he has given approval for a NGLV, next generation launcher. And next generation launcher configuration little bit we have modified. The first launcher which lifted off from Indian soil, the SLV-3, the project director was none other than APJ Abdul Kalam, and worked under the leadership role of Professor Satish Dhawan. That capability of the vehicle was hardly 35 kg to low Earth orbit. I don't underestimate capability. At that point of time, it was a great capability. And the lift-off mass of the rocket was 17 tons. From that, we have moved gradually, step by step. Today, we have conceived a rocket to take 80,000 kg to low Earth orbit, and a 40-story height rocket with 2,600 ton capability, lift-off mass capability, powered by 27 240 ton LOX methane engine. What a significant and great progress. And dear friends, lot of new technologies we have demonstrated this year. The semi-cryo propulsion system, we have made breakthrough. The test stand was declared to the country by Honorable Prime Minister of India in 2023. We have completed almost 7 tests in that test stand. High thrust electric propulsion, lot of things are done. And finally, yes, satellite launch vehicle, everything is meant for application for the common man of this country. And application, we are doing outstanding work. There are 55 applications. And we had a national meet after 10 years. Yesterday we have concluded, and that has given a direction, guideline for the application, including sat communication, satellite navigation, and earth observation for the country. We conducted based on the direction of Honorable Prime Minister Chintan Shivir. He has given the vision for 2047. We have written the roadmap how to achieve that vision. Also how to take the space program up to 1962. Being the 100 years of ISRO, Indian space program. We have charted out the entire program. Today everything is going to be released here. The theme of today's space program, Space Day celebration, from Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, which pays tributes to the progress achieved by our ancient astronomers and mathematicians. Over the decades, we have mastered a lot of technologies in the space program. In nutshell, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister and able guidance of our Minister of State, and we have got the principal scientific advisor to PM. He gives then and there necessary direction and guideline. Also, the Space Commission members are here. IAC Director is here. And Kiran Kumar sir could not participate. And with all their guideline, vision, and the strong foundation made by the former leaders of ISRO, and the contribution of each and every one of you, I would like to say by 2040, India will be, based on the direction of Prime Minister, we are going to land on the moon, the crewed mission will be on the moon, and we are going to bring back safely. Thereby, 2040, Indian space program will be in par with any other spacefaring nations, in terms of launcher, in terms of human spaceflight program, in terms of application, in terms of satellite, everything will be in par. Thanks to the entire leaderships. And coming to my role, I think I am not going to dwell much. First of all, let me welcome Honorable Minister for this very, very important National Space Day function. Let us welcome him. Let me welcome all the 4 Gaganyatri's who is on the stage for this function. Let me also welcome InSpace Chairman. Let me welcome the former Chairman, Mr. Somnath, who was leading the role during the last Space Day celebration. He is with us. Let us welcome him. Let us welcome our PSA, Principal Scientific Advisor, who is with us. He is going to give the keynote speech. Let us welcome IAC Director, who is the Space Commission member for this function. Let us welcome the senior secretaries, including Secretary, Science and Technology, and other secretaries for this very, very important function. Let me also welcome all the directors, unit directors, center directors, program directors, project directors, and all ISRO team for this function. When I welcome all of you, I will fail my duty unless I welcome all the family members who are here. Not everybody, a couple of family members are there. But for their support, surely we cannot perform well. I think Suklaji also totally agreed with me. Without Madam support, he cannot perform well. And without my wife's support, surely I cannot perform well. That you all agree. So let us welcome all of them for this function. And very, very important team, which I have to acknowledge, is the Prime Minister's Office, PMO team, represented by Mr. Vipin Kumar. I think he is here in the front. And PMO strongly give clear direction. Whenever we little bit deviate here and there are clear directions, guidelines. So let me also thank them for their outstanding contribution. They are part of us, and we are part of them, and we are taking the program together. So with this, there are young students. You are the future leaders. Surely India will become a developed country by 2047. And based on the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, I request all of you to think tangentially and think how to contribute to make this country as a developed country, and request you to contribute whatever way it is possible. Thank you. Let me once again welcome each and every one of you for this second National Space Day celebration. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring words of welcome, and also for walking us through the luminaries who have led from the front in all of India's historic space missions and all the missions for the future. Your address has set the perfect tone for today's celebrations. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now honored to welcome to the podium Dr. Pavan Kumar Goenka, Chairman InSpace, a Padma Shri awardee and former Managing Director of Mahindra & Mahindra. Dr. Goenka has been the architect of India's modern space reforms, from spearheading the journey of India's private sector to liberalizing FDI norms, and from nurturing startups to launching the decadal vision. His leadership has transformed India's space sector into a very vibrant, globally competitive ecosystem where India's space story has become a shared national endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, since he's already at the podium, Dr. Pavan Goenka.
Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Secretary DOS and Chairman ISRO, Dr. V. Narayanan, the Gaganyatris, friends. Let me extend my personal welcome to the second edition of National Space Day. After the inspiring and energizing speech by Dr. V. Narayanan, there's nothing more for me to add, but I've been given 3 minutes, so I will take those 3 minutes. If you look at last year, in our first National Space Day till today, tremendous progress has been made in the space sector, both from ISRO and from the private sector. Dr. Narayanan talked about various things that have happened in the last year and even before, such as SpaceX, NISAR, this human space flight, that is XM4, and the 100th launch that happened. Very energizing to see the Vision 2047 that has been put together, and there's a panel later on in the afternoon on the Vision 2047, and I think those who have not been involved with it will simply be impressed to see what are the aspirations that we have set for the space sector in the next 22 years. And what you see is further maturing of the private sector. The number of things that have happened in the last year, too long a list to cover, but companies like Agnikul, Skyroot, Anand Technologies, Pixel, Dhruva Space, Bellatrix, Digantra, TSL, XT-Links, they have all made significant progress along with 300 other startups that have come around. And if you go out and look at the 24 exhibits, you will get a feel, and compare that to last year, you'll get a feel for how far we have come in just 12 months. 3 specific big-ticket items that have happened, which will define the role of private sector in space, are assignment of the 89-degree east spectrum or orbit slot to ATL. And ATL is now working on launching the first privately owned space communication satellite in about 3.5 years at an expense or investment of more than 2,500 crores, the largest single investment by private sector in space. Second is the technology transfer of SSLV. Again, for the first time ever, other than Space Agency of India would be making or owning a complete launch vehicle. And third is awarding the EO constellation to the consortium led by Pixel. And again, all the 4 companies are outside, and they'll be investing more than 1,200 crores to set up this constellation. All of these were done through a bidding process, and the zero bid of Pixel consortium is talk of the town, that how can somebody bid zero when the government is offering 350 crores. And to me, it's a very big statement of the confidence that the private sector has in the future opportunities in space. And we feel very, very positive about what lies ahead for us with this kind of enthusiasm that private sector is showing in the space sector. The task of ISRO and InSpace is to make sure that these 3 initiatives of private sector become successful, and we have to do everything that we can and we will to help them succeed. There are a lot many opportunities that have been identified yesterday with National Meet 2.0. And as I said yesterday, that will keep us busy for the next 5 years to deliver on all the expectations of various government departments and the states. Let me conclude by assuring our Honorable Minister that the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of private sector playing an important role and is becoming a reality, with unwavering support from you, sir, for that Prime Minister's vision. And I also thank my ISRO colleagues for fully supporting InSpace in fulfilling our mandate to help private sector play a big role in space. Again, thank you very much for being here today, and you will go back with a lot more excitement about the space sector in India, as Dr. Narayanan had just pointed out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Goenka, for that very compelling address. And ladies and gentlemen, on this momentous occasion, we're also very privileged to hear from the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. His vision has been the guiding force in positioning space as a cornerstone of national development and a driver of global collaboration. So let us all now listen to his special message for the second National Space Day celebrations.
केंद्रीय कैबिनेट के साथी, इसरो और स्पेस सेक्टर के सभी वैज्ञानिक एवं इंजीनियर्स और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आप सभी को नेशनल स्पेस डे की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। इस बार स्पेस डे की थीम है आर्यभट्ट से गगनयान तक। इसमें अतीत का आत्मविश्वास भी है और भविष्य का संकल्प भी है। आज हम देख रहे हैं इतने कम समय में ही नेशनल स्पेस डे हमारे युवाओं में उत्साह और आकर्षण का अवसर बन गया है। ये देश के लिए गर्व की बात है। मैं स्पेस सेक्टर से जुड़े सभी लोगों को, वैज्ञानिकों को, सभी युवाओं को नेशनल स्पेस डे की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। अभी भारत ने इंटरनेशनल ओलंपियाड ऑन एस्ट्रोनॉमी एंड एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स उसकी मेजबानी भी की है। इस कंपटीशन में दुनिया के 60 से ज्यादा देशों से लगभग 300 युवाओं ने हिस्सा लिया। भारत के युवाओं ने मेडल भी जीते। ये ओलंपियाड स्पेस सेक्टर में भारत की उभरती लीडरशिप का प्रतीक है। साथियों, मुझे खुशी है कि युवा साथियों में स्पेस के प्रति रुचि बढ़ाने के लिए इसरो द्वारा भारतीय अंतरिक्ष हैकाथॉन और रोबोटिक्स चैलेंज जैसी पहल भी की गई है। मैं इन प्रतिस्पर्धाओं में हिस्सा लेने वाले स्टूडेंट्स और विजेताओं को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, स्पेस सेक्टर में एक के बाद एक नए माइलस्टोन गणना, ये भारत और भारत के वैज्ञानिकों का स्वभाव बन गया है। 2 साल पहले ही भारत पहला ऐसा देश बना था जिसने चंद्रमा के साउथ पोल पर पहुंचने का इतिहास रचा। हम स्पेस में डॉकिंग, अनडॉकिंग की क्षमता रखने वाले दुनिया के चौथे देश भी बन गए हैं। अभी 3 दिन पहले ही मेरी ग्रुप कैप्टन शुभांशु शुक्ला से मुलाकात हुई है। उन्होंने इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन पर तिरंगा फहराकर हर भारतीय को गर्व से भर दिया। जब वो तिरंगा मुझे दिखा रहे थे, वो जो पल थी, जो अनुभूति थी, वो शब्दों से परे है। ग्रुप कैप्टन शुभांशु से हुई चर्चा में मैंने नए भारत के युवा के असीम हौसले और अनंत सपनों को देखा है। इन सपनों को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हम भारत का एस्ट्रोनॉट पूल भी तैयार करने जा रहे हैं। मैं आज स्पेस डे पर अपने युवा साथियों को भारत के सपनों को उड़ान देने के लिए इस एस्ट्रोनॉट पूल से जुड़ने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं। साथियों, आज भारत सेमी क्रायोजेनिक इंजन और इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोपल्शन जैसी ब्रेक थ्रू टेक्नोलॉजी में तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहा है। जल्द ही आप सब वैज्ञानिकों की मेहनत से भारत गगनयान की उड़ान भी भरेगा और आने वाले समय में भारत अपना स्पेस स्टेशन भी बनाएगा। अभी हम मून और मार्स तक पहुंचे हैं। अब हमें गहरे अंतरिक्ष में उन हिस्सों में भी झोंकना है जहां मानवता के भविष्य के लिए कई जरूरी रहस्य छिपे हैं। बियॉन्ड गैलेक्सीज लाइज अवर होराइजन। साथियों, अनंत अंतरिक्ष हमें हमेशा ये एहसास दिलाता है कि वहां कोई भी पड़ाव अंतिम पड़ाव नहीं है। मैं मानता हूं स्पेस सेक्टर में पॉलिसी लेवल पर भी कहीं कोई आखिरी ठहराव नहीं होना चाहिए। और इसलिए मैंने लाल किले से कहा था, हमारा रास्ता रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म और ट्रांसफॉर्म का रास्ता है। इसलिए बीते 11 वर्षों में देश ने स्पेस सेक्टर में एक के बाद एक लगातार बड़े रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं। एक समय था जब स्पेस जैसे फ्यूचरिस्टिक सेक्टर को देश में अनेक पाबंदियों से बांध दिया गया था। हमने इन बेड़ियों को खोला। हमने प्राइवेट सेक्टर को स्पेस टेक में परमिशन दी और आज देखिए देश में 350 से ज्यादा स्टार्टअप्स स्पेस टेक के इनोवेशन और एक्सेलरेशन का इंजन बनकर उभर रहे हैं। इस कार्यक्रम में भी उनकी बढ़ चढ़ करके उपस्थिति दिख रही है। हमारे प्राइवेट सेक्टर द्वारा बनाया गया पहला PSLV रॉकेट भी जल्द ही लॉन्च किया जाएगा। मुझे खुशी है कि भारत की पहली प्राइवेट कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट भी बनाई जा रही है। पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप के जरिए अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट कॉन्स्टलेशन भी लॉन्च करने की तैयारी है। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं स्पेस सेक्टर में भारत के युवाओं के लिए बहुत बड़ी संख्या में अवसर बनने जा रहे हैं। साथियों, मैंने 15 अगस्त को लाल किले से ऐसे अनेक क्षेत्रों का जिक्र किया था जिसमें भारत को आत्मनिर्भर होना बहुत जरूरी है। मैंने हर सेक्टर को अपने लक्ष्य तय करने को कहा है। आज स्पेस डे के दिन मैं देश के स्पेस स्टार्टअप से कहूंगा, क्या हम स्पेस सेक्टर में अगले 5 वर्षों में 5 यूनिकॉर्न खड़े कर सकते हैं? अभी हम भारत की धरती से साल में 5-6 बड़े लॉन्च देखते हैं। मैं चाहूंगा कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर आगे आए और अगले 5 साल में हम उस स्थिति में पहुंचे कि हर साल 50 रॉकेट लॉन्च कर पाए, हर सप्ताह एक। इसके लिए देश को जिन नेक्स्ट जन रिफॉर्म की जरूरत है वो करने का सरकार का इरादा भी है और इच्छा शक्ति भी है। मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूं, सरकार हर कदम पर आपके साथ खड़ी है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी को साइंटिफिक एक्सप्लोरेशन के साथ ही ईज ऑफ लिविंग का भी माध्यम मानता है। आज स्पेस टेक भारत में गवर्नेंस का भी हिस्सा बन रहा है। फसल बीमा योजना में सैटेलाइट बेस्ड आकलन हो, मछुआरों को सैटेलाइट से मिल रही जानकारी और सुरक्षा हो, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट हो या पीएम गति शक्ति नेशनल मास्टर प्लान में जियो स्पेशियल डेटा का इस्तेमाल हो। आज स्पेस में भारत की प्रगति सामान्य नागरिकों का जीवन आसान बना रही है। इसी दिशा में केंद्र और राज्यों में स्पेस टेक का इस्तेमाल बढ़ाने के लिए कल नेशनल मीट 2.0 का आयोजन भी हुआ है। मैं चाहूंगा ऐसे प्रयास आगे भी चलते रहें। हमारे स्पेस स्टार्टअप भी नागरिकों की सेवा के लिए नए सॉल्यूशंस दे, नए इनोवेशंस करे। मुझे विश्वास है आने वाले समय में अंतरिक्ष में भारत की यात्रा नई ऊंचाइयों को छुएगी। इसी विश्वास के साथ आप सभी को एक बार फिर नेशनल स्पेस डे की बहुत बहुत बधाई। धन्यवाद।
That was an inspiring message from our Honorable Prime Minister, envisioning space as the high frontier of India's growth story, a path of self-reliance, innovation, and a source of inspiration for every citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a video which showcases India's remarkable advancements since the maiden National Space Day on August 23, 2024, highlighting zonal events across the nation and the growing role of space technology as a catalyst for governance and progress. Let's take a look at this audio visual.
23rd August 2023 was a red letter day in the Indian space program when the Vikram lander soft landed near the southern polar region of the moon.
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा।
The first National Space Day was celebrated throughout the nation on 23rd August 2024 with participation from ministries, industries, startups and academia. Since the last Space Day in 2024, the country has witnessed new milestones in the space sector. During the period, more than 200 significant achievements have been accomplished. Prominent among them include innovative missions such as the Space Docking Experiment, 100th launch from Shar GSLV F-15, first Indian aboard the International Space Station, and joint ISRO-NASA NISAR mission. ISRO continued its focus on readying the semi-cryogenic engine, testing and integration of Gaganyaan hardware, and construction of SSLV launch complex. The government has also greenlit the development of the Super Heavy Lift rocket and the third launch pad TLP at Sriharikota, marking the dawn of a new era for India's space ambitions. The year also witnessed laurels in space science and exploration, with Aditya-1 capturing the first image of solar flare kernel in lower solar atmosphere, key insights on lunar data, and discovery of new exoplanet. In the field of space applications, some noteworthy achievements include the release of National Database for Emergency Management 5.0, development of new yield model for farmer claim settlements, and new method of measurement of soil moisture and ocean winds using GNSS reflectometry. In times of national need, the space assets have provided vital support towards ensuring safety and security of our citizens. The past year has witnessed tremendous growth in private space sector capabilities, aided by In Space. Schemes such as the Seed Fund Scheme, PIE program, and pricing support have been rolled out by In Space. Several enterprises have started working towards building and operating their own satellites and testing subsystems of their launch vehicles. In Space has also successfully transferred technology of ISRO's small satellite launch vehicle to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The past year has also witnessed several laurels from the New Space India Limited, NSIL, the state-run public sector enterprise under the Department of Space. These include realization of the high-throughput satellite GSAT-N2, launch of Proba 3 mission of the European Space Agency, and developments towards the launch of PSLV-N1. Our global leadership in space domain touched new heights with the successful conduct of Global Space Exploration Conference GLEX 2025 in May 2025, the largest global IAF conference ever held. Noteworthy outreach events of ISRO include Yuvika program for high school students and NE Sparks program for students from Northeast. To reassess the user needs for the future and for greater role of the private sector, the Government of India held the National Meet 2.0 in 2025. Towards this, more than 300 meetings were held with user departments since June 2025, developing next-generation instruments and missions, boosting industry participation, and embedding innovations are the major recommendations that emerged through the user interactions. Towards the National Space Day 2025, a month-long series of events including conferences, exhibitions, talks, open houses, quizzes, Bharatiya Antariksh Hackathon 2025 and ISRO Robotics Challenge 2025 have been successfully conducted. These activities reflected the year's theme, Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, Ancient Wisdom to Infinite Possibilities. This whole-of-nation approach towards building the space sector is powering India's ambitions and driving progress from farms to frontiers. It safeguards lives, strengthens the economy, and bridges the digital divide. In the vast silence of space, it fuels the heartbeat of Vikshit Bharat. Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan.
These achievements remind us that every orbit we reach and every frontier we cross brings us closer to a future where India's space story touches lives here on Earth while reaching for the stars. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a look at highlights from National Meet 2.0 held yesterday, August 22nd, 2025. This landmark gathering brought together policymakers, scientists, industry leaders, and innovators to chart the next chapter of India's space applications and governance. Let's take a look.
Since beginning, India's space program has been more than rockets, satellites, and planetary missions. It's been about empowering people, improving lives, and shaping a better future. In 2014, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi urged for enhancing the use of space technology in governance and development. In 2015, during the first ever mega user meet, Honorable Prime Minister gave his vision on effective use of space technology for national development. Space technology has now become integral input for major flagship programs. 10 years after the Mega User Meet of 2015 or National Meet 1.0, India's space sector, both government and private, has grown significantly. To reassess the use needs for the future and for greater role of the private sector, Government of India decided to hold National Meet 2.0 in August 2025. Towards this, nearly 300 meetings were held with user departments since June 2025. Nearly 90 documents spanning 5,000 pages have come out as a result of this 3-month-long exercise. ISRO, Department of Space, is thankful to secretaries and senior officials of central ministries and departments. state governments and union territories for their unwavering support and wholehearted involvement in this process. The inputs from the user interactions are used in preparing the roadmap for space and ground infrastructure for the next 15 years, covering the domains of Earth observation, communication and navigation. In terms of satellites, 100 plus satellites need to be released over the next 15 years to meet the user requirements. Nearly 70% of these are in the small satellite class, thereby presenting opportunity for multiple satellites per launch. Implementation will be taken up such that government focuses on technology development missions, while operational missions are realized through private industry and public-private partnerships with active participation of InSpace, NSIL and NGEs. The document which is being submitted today summarizes the mission plan for 2040. Aligning with the vision for Viksit Bharat, we hope for a future where space technology secures our food, water, environment, protects us from disasters and sustainable growth for all. Together, we will march towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Jai Hind.
And ladies and gentlemen, we now move to a symbolic moment, the formal handover of the outcome report of National Meet 2.0 to the Honorable Minister of State for Space by Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space. And to join in for this handing over ceremony, I also invite Shri Nilesh Desai, Director, Space Applications Center and Chair of the Apex Committee for National Meet 2.0. Also, Dr. Prakash Chauhan, Director, National Remote Sensing Center and Chair of the Program Management Council for Space Applications, please. May I now request Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space, to kindly hand over this report to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, the Honorable Minister of State for Space. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause. The deliberations of National Meet 2.0 reinforce the inclusive collaborative vision for harnessing space across every sector, a vision that strengthens India's march towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you very much. Thank you, esteemed dignitaries. I thank Shri Nilesh Desai and I thank Dr. Prakash Chauhan as well. Thank you, Honorable Minister. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we now present a short film on Chintan Shivir 2025, a platform for reflection, ideation, and charting the next frontier of India's space journey. So let us now first take a look at this short film.
In pursuit of the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's visionary directive to elevate India's space aspirations, the Department of Space convened a landmark 2.5-day workshop, Chintan Shivir 2025, from July 16th to 18th, 2025 in the vibrant city of Visakhapatnam, a bold step toward shaping the nation's celestial future. The primary strategic driver behind the DOS Chintan Shivir initiative was to develop a concrete action plan for implementing the Viksit Bharat 2047. The overarching theme for the event was implementing Space Vision 2047 and looking beyond. to envision the Space Vision 2047 and looking beyond towards the 100th year of the Indian space program. Around 350 key officials participated during the deliberations, including teams from ISRO, NSIL, InSpace, administrative wings of the department and the other autonomous bodies. At the helm of this extraordinary initiative stood the dynamic leadership of Chairman ISRO, Secretary DOS, Dr. V. Narayanan. 11 areas were identified for intense deliberations in the form of breakout sessions. The 2.5-day session has set the direction to harness the benefits of space technology for national development, along with targets for an exponential growth of the Indian space ecosystem, space applications, space infrastructure, space transportation systems, human spaceflight and capacity building in the short term, mid-term and long term. The Chintan Shivir deliberations help to assess the current gaps in the EO capabilities in supporting the application requirements and a roadmap of EO applications in the domains of ecosystem and food security, atmosphere and environment, climate, hydrology and cryosphere, and disaster risk reduction was chalked out. That is expected to position India as the global leader in Earth observation. The Roadmap for Satellite Communication Program aims to provide seamless connectivity, enhance network resilience and redundancy, broadband access extending to global locations by adoption of new technological solutions, including sovereign NGSO constellation. The Indian Navigation System, NAVIC, is proposed to be extended towards multiple orbits, enabling global coverage, meeting both civilian and strategic needs. A series of space science and exploration missions to destination within and beyond the solar system are planned that will complement the global space exploration efforts and also enrich the Indian space science ecosystem involving academia and research institutions. The Bharatiya Antariksh Station is poised to become a hub of scientific activity. The space applications require a robust space infrastructure, including satellite assets. The Chintan Shivir recommended the establishment of a secure, robust Bharatiya Global Grid, Bharatiya Akhand Sanchar Pranali, to deliver on-demand Earth observation data, and a Bharatiya Sarvatra Vishwa Darshini for precise navigation and resilient communication services at a global scale. This requires a whole-of-nation approach involving the private sector to build the satellites with the required capacity. The strategic space assets essential for national security over the long term in the backdrop of the evolving geopolitical scenario was also deliberated and embedded in the roadmap. The timely deployment of the space infrastructure planned in the next decade and beyond requires both higher capacity and payload capability for the space transportation systems. The Chintan Shivir outlined a roadmap including the prioritization of the development of a human-rated launch vehicle for crewed lunar missions to achieve the first Indian human lunar landing by 2040, along with cutting-edge propulsion technologies, cost-effective space access with fully reusable launch vehicles and hypersonic vehicles. In the area of human space exploration and habitation, the technology thrust up to 2047 will be towards enabling longer duration human spaceflight missions in LEO, missions beyond LEO to cislunar space, establishing an Indian lunar habitat with capabilities of sustaining short or medium stay on lunar surface. Beyond 2047, the roadmap primarily focuses on achieving capabilities for Earth-independent operations in cis-Martian space as well as Mars surface habitation. The fulfillment of these objectives require the concurrent establishment of the related ground infrastructure, skill development, academic or industry partnerships, and productive international collaboration. launch infrastructure, propulsion test facilities and capacity development in new areas such as bioastronautics. The changes required in organizational policies and human resources towards meeting the outlined space vision were discussed along with avenues in space business and diversification plans. Chintan Shivir 2025 has provided a blueprint for planning our space missions, industrial capacity, academic growth, and over the next 3 decades. Space will definitely be a significant driver for our Atmanirbhar Viksit Bharat 2047.
Ladies and gentlemen, the outcomes of Chintan Shivir 2025 reflect both the introspection and the vision for future space-driven governance. And now for the ceremonial handover of this outcome report, may I also invite the Secretary, Department of Space, along with all Program Management Council chairs, along with the Scientific Secretary, ISRO, to please be on stage with us. And before I request Secretary, Department of Space, Dr. V. Narayanan, to present this handover, to hand it over to the Honorable Minister of State for Space, I invite our Program Management Council chairs and also the Scientific Secretary of ISRO. And I now request Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space, to kindly hand over this report to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause. This handover symbolizes our collective resolve to transform ideas into action and to shape India's future in space with conviction of vision and unity of purpose. I request the Honorable Minister to please stay with us ahead of the dais, because we want to take this opportunity, sir, to felicitate your presence. We cannot thank you enough, and I'm going to request Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space, Chairman, Space Commission, and Chairman, ISRO, to kindly felicitate our chief guest, Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, with a shawl and a memento. Ladies and gentlemen, can we express our gratitude in the form of a rousing, roaring round of applause for the Honorable Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji. And now we will request the Honorable Minister, but before that, I'd like to, ladies and gentlemen, convey to all of you that we move to the highlight of our celebrations, where the Honorable Minister of State will present prizes to winners of the Robotics Challenge and Bharatiya Antariksh Hackathon. And before we invite the Honorable Minister to do that, let me just tell you a little about the Robotics Challenge first. The ISRO Robotics Challenge, URSC 2025, or IROC-U, is a national platform that nurtures young innovators in space robotics, preparing them to solve real engineering challenges for the future interplanetary missions. And this year's theme, ANAV, Autonomous Navigation for an Aerial Vehicle Without External Navigation Aids, carries the inspiring tagline, "Fly Me on Mars." And through this challenge, India's brightest youth are shaping technologies that will power our space exploration tomorrow. So I'm going to now request our Honorable Minister of State for Space to please distribute the prizes for the Robotics Challenge, sir. And we will begin with the third prize in this competition, going on to the second and then first. We also have consolation prizes, and going on to the special prize for innovation and non-intuitive thinking. So we begin by calling on stage for the Robotics Challenge our third prize winner, Team Nyod from Karnataka. May I invite Saurabh Suresh Karki, Krishna Sai Golamudi, Amit Matthew, and Mallikarjun S. Kande. Let's welcome Saurabh Suresh Karki, Krishna Sai Golamudi, Amit Matthew, and Mallikarjun S. Kande. Team Nyod from Karnataka getting the third prize in the Robotics Challenge. on to inviting our second prize winners, ladies and gentlemen, for the robotics challenge. And the second prize goes to Team Surya from Uttar Pradesh. May I invite Kartik Pandey, Muskan, Prashant Singh and Rani Astya to kindly join us on stage. Surya from Uttar Pradesh. Let's have a huge round of applause for our second prize winners, ladies and gentlemen. Team Surya from Uttar Pradesh. We see big smiles on the faces of the team members, Kartik Pandey, Muskan, Prashant Singh and Rani Astya. Very well done and many congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this challenge, the first prize for robotics challenge goes to Galactic Gearheads from Maharashtra. We invite Nimish Sadab, Rushikesh Patwardhan, Kaushal N. Chaudhary and Dr. S.V. Gaikwad to kindly join us on stage and receive their prize. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our first prize winners. Team Galactic Gearheads from Maharashtra. Nimish Satab, Rushikesh Patwardhan, Kaushal N. Chaudhary and Dr. S.V. Gaikwad. And in this robotics challenge, ladies and gentlemen, we also have two consolation prizes. So may I first invite Team Titans from Maharashtra on getting a consolation prize, Padmesh Kimmatkar, Dr. Sandeep Khetkar, Sanjot Sanjay Kavale and Dipanshu Kamalkar Pise. Team Titans getting a consolation prize, Team Titans from Maharashtra. The Titans are Padmesh Kimmatkar, Dr. Sandeep Khetkar, Sanjot Sanjay Kavale and Dipanshu Kamalkar Pise. Many, many congratulations on getting your consolation prize. And there is another consolation that goes to Cosmos from West Bengal. May I invite Somalia Malik, Shreyan Kundu, Muhammad Mustafa Abdullah and Subham Das. Cosmos from West Bengal walks away with another consolation besides the Titans. Here they are, Cosmos from West Bengal getting the consolation prize from the Honorable Minister, Somalia Malik, Shreyan Kundu, Muhammad Mustafa Abdullah and Subham Das. And ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I'm going to hold back Cosmos from West Bengal because they get one more prize. They get a special prize for innovative and non-intuitive thinking. Cosmos from West Bengal, Somalia Malik, Shreyan Kundu, Muhammad Mustafa Abdullah and Subham Das will now get their special prize for innovative and non-intuitive thinking as well. So let us congratulate them with another loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to all the winners. Now we proceed to the prize distribution, ladies and gentlemen. And I will just describe it, sir. So I request you to please be seated. Bharatiya Antariksh Hackathon. So the Bharatiya Antariksh Hackathon, ladies and gentlemen, launched by ISRO in 2024, is a flagship initiative to ignite innovation among students in the run-up to the National Space Day. The 2025 edition, unveiled on June 18th, saw over 61,000 students and 8,744 teams. They tackled 14 problem statements across geospatial technology, space science, image processing, and AI and ML. After a rigorous process, the top 30 teams reached the 30-hour grand finale on August 7th and 8th, where the best 3 were chosen for their creativity, technical excellence, and feasibility. We congratulate all the participants. This was a difficult competition, and we request the Honorable Minister to please now distribute the prizes. So may I request you to please step ahead of the dais and give away 3 prizes, the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st for Bharatiya Hackathon, Antariksh Hackathon. Let us begin by calling on stage our 3rd prize winner. The 3rd prize goes to Team Neuronetics, Tathagato Das, Tirth Brata Jana, Suyatra Goswami, and Sovan Mandal. Ladies and gentlemen, can we do better on the applause? I thank you very much for your kind cooperation. Congratulations, Team Neuronetics, on getting your 3rd prize. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite the winners of the 2nd prize. The 2nd prize goes to Dominators, Krish Vaghasya, Heli Shah, Hensi, Bhavesh Kumar Patel, and Nisarg Vashi. Thank you for the applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for encouraging these students. Dominators walking away with the 2nd prize, Krish Vaghasya, Heli Shah, Hensi Bhavesh Kumar Patel, and Nisarg Vashi. Congratulations to you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the 1st prize. The 1st prize of this competition, the Bharatiya Antariksh Hackathon, goes to Team Buck Trio, Arpit Chaudhary, Deepesh Elawat, and Chaitanya Sharma. Team Buck Trio getting the 1st prize. Arpit Chaudhary, Deepesh Elawat, and Chaitanya Sharma. Many congratulations to you. And I thank the esteemed Honorable Minister. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors again. I request you to please be seated now. And ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed delighted to have on the dais our Gagan Yatris. So I think it's only fair if we request them to share their views in under 2 minutes, if that's all right. One by one, and I'm going to request first our Gagan Yatri, Shubhanshu Shukla. Let me request you to please say a few words on this occasion.
Well, good morning to everyone. This is a surprise test. I was not expecting to speak, but I am so excited to see this, the excitement amongst all of you with what we are planning to do. I was just thinking about this, what is happening here. 2 years ago, we did not have this celebration. Last year, we started 2024, and this is 2025. And within 2 years, this is the excitement that we have been able to create. We have some really big ambitions going forward. Gaganyaan mission, Bharatiya Antariksh Station, and eventually landing on the moon. And what it requires is all the kids who are sitting here to be excited, because we will need all of you. And I'm so happy to see that you're already being a part of various competitions that are being organized and competing among yourselves, and in turn creating this curiosity about space exploration. I think to achieve such big and bold ambitions that we have, it requires the resources of an entire nation, right from the kids. ISRO is already doing a fantastic job in involving everyone, because this is what we need going into the future. The industries, the schools, the academia, and the resources of the entire country to make these ambitions a reality, a goal. The celebration or the excitement that I see here in this room, let me tell you, in the past 1 year, I've been traveling globally for my training for the Axiom 4 mission to the International Space Station. This excitement is not limited to this room. This excitement for India is present all over the world. Wherever I have gone, I have interacted with everyone. my crewmates and the various teams at Japanese Space Agency or European Space Agency, wherever I have been, they are much more excited about our mission because I was preparing for the flying to the International Space Station, and the questions would inevitably be, when is Gaganyaan going to fly? And they made me sign a note that whenever you do fly, you need to invite us for the launch. And we want to travel in your vehicle from Indian soil on an Indian launch vehicle very soon. So I think the excitement is very real. We have great ambitions, and I think now, since the responsibility has been given, it is our job and duty to perform them. And so I'm so happy to see that is already happening in a lot of ways. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be present here at this point of time. I think this is the golden period for our country as far as space exploration is concerned. Let's get higher and faster together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I now request our Gaganyatri, Prashant Balakrishnan Nair.
Can you hear me? Jai Hind to everybody out here. Thank you, Minister, Chairman, and my fellow Gaganyatris, all the senior leadership sitting in front of me, and the entire ISRO family, and from the scientific community, all top dignitaries of India, and the heroes of today, the children. You know, when I was young, I used to always see those newspaper clippings that something is happening in Delhi. Many other events, with children go, a lot of competition and all. I'm still not that side, I'm on this side and still envy the children who came out here and got all those awards. It's a fantastic achievement. So let's hear it again for all of them. To echo what my colleague said, while we visited the Japanese Space Agency, ESA, and when we went to SpaceX and all these places, cutting-edge technology. But there's a big admiration for India in everything that we did, because whatever we do it in a different way. So we are not looking too far when these people will be here in our own land and hoping to fly with us in the Gaganyaan. That's not too far away, because that is the thing that we should be aspiring to be. The theme for today's session is ancient wisdom to infinite possibilities. This is the whole theme for this year's. What does it stand for? Actually, this is where you need to actually look deep into what India provides all of you, which other countries do not. Whenever we light a lamp before any function, the other day when this entire thing was inaugurated, just 2 days back, there is something which is invoked. And we don't pay too much attention to it. And that's why today we are celebrating such people like Aryabhata. It is invoking Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurme Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. We say these, but we don't understand what it is. And this is our ancient wisdom, that Vakratunda is Ganesha, the Ritambra Buddhi, big, Mahakaya. This is what we bring, creativity, something totally different, like the awards which are won today. And Surya Koti Samaprabha, to be resplendent like the sun. We just now with Aditya took a photograph also. Think out of the box and to remove all obstacles along the way. Nirvignam Kurme Deva, in everything that we do and always. Sarva Kareshu and Sarvada. Just by remembering this ancient wisdom, we can unlock infinite possibilities. And with that, I would like to end by saying, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and Jai Vaigan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now may I invite Gaganyatri Angad Pratap.
Very good morning to everyone present, Honorable Minister, sir, Chairman, sir, and distinguished guests and friends, families. This is a great moment that all of us have been able to come here, gather here for celebrating the National Space Day 2025. What each one of us should really understand today here is, as an Indian first, is what is the kind of potential we have as a country. And of course, We are able to celebrate this because we have right now a government which is really supporting the space sector. We can't forget the fact that we are riding on the hard work of decades and decades of, hard work which has gone in from our scientific community. Especially when I talk about this, I'm talking about the Indian Space Research Organization. There are a lot of people who have toiled very hard under a lot of hard working conditions. These were not ideal working conditions, and these were very, very intelligent people who chose to work for an organization called the Indian Space Research Organization. And in spite of having a lot of better pastures outside India or in the private community within India. So I would first of all request all of you to appreciate the fact that all of us are primarily present here and we are able to celebrate this day because of those people. And I would request all of you to please give a round of applause for all the names which even Chairman Sir brought out in his short speech. In fact, I firmly believe that today you have 4 individuals amongst this distinguished panel who are able to wear this jacket primarily because of the hard work, the capability that ISRO has, that from here on we can take a human space. We can even think of undertaking a human space mission. I'll keep it short. Human space mission is not the same as any other space mission. It is multiple missions in one mission. That's probably one of the reasons why it's more complicated and it ends up taking more time. As a country, I believe firmly, and I'm very sure about this, that we have to bring on board the collective national potential into the space sector to make this human space flight possible for us. Because by 2047, the kind of vision we have, as of now, one of the key things which is stopping us from becoming a superpower is this human space flight thing. So let's work together towards it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now I have the privilege of requesting our Gaganyatri, Ajit Krishnan.
Jai Hind, sir. And Jai Hind, all the audience. When the 4 of us got associated with ISRO in 2020, at least I didn't realize that we are getting into something which is so much bigger than all of us. I thought that we're just going to be a part of one mission, maybe a few missions, which will be the beginning of human spaceflight in India. That was 2020. We fast forward now to 2025. In the 5 years that have gone by, we've been to the moon twice. We have had a docking experiment. We have had a new small satellite launch vehicle. We have had 350 startups coming up and joining our space sector. We are going places. India is going places. Wherever we have been abroad, everybody looks up to us. They look up to the pace at which we are progressing. And I feel that they're slightly envious also. This is all thanks to ISRO, all thanks to the private sector, all thanks to the educational institutes, academia that we have, all of you who are all working towards space. Now we have a solid roadmap available to us till 2047 that's in front of us. We just have to work hard, put our heads together, think innovatively, and produce the results so that we achieve what is planned in these books. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you to our Gaganyatris for those heartfelt remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege, my honor to say that Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, a medical professional by training and a seasoned parliamentarian, has been one of the most articulate voices of the government in advancing India's science, technology, and innovation agenda. Under his visionary leadership, India's space program has seen historic policy reforms, unprecedented private sector participation, and a bold vision that places space at the very heart of national development and global leadership. Sir, your commitment and clarity of vision continue to inspire scientists, industry, students and citizens alike, and India's space story shines brighter because of your guidance. And we are so privileged to have you lead these celebrations today. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for the Honorable Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji.
Thank you, thank you. I hurriedly came to the dais. I thought that will stop her, but anyway, it sounds very flattering. Thanks for a very kind introduction. So amongst us, the Chairman Dr. Narayanan, Chairman in Space, Dr. Pavan Goenka, our 4 astronauts, Subhanshu, Prashant, Angat, Krishna. I can see all the senior members of Team ISRO, our former chairman, Somnathan. I think one healthy tradition in ISRO is that they may retire, but they continue working. So they are retired only in the office files, not in the ISRO files. And I'm glad. So very much like Somnathan, Kiran Kumar, Dr. Radhakrishnan, all of them continue to be there, following the same tradition and continuing with their projects. I can also see senior secretaries from the different departments of science. Dr. Ravi Chandran, Dr. Abhay is there. Yes, Principal Scientific Advisor, and all the senior members of fraternity, and of course the students who are the main attraction of this program this morning. Now, Subhashu was saying that he was taken by surprise when he was asked to speak. So I think I take the responsibility of having committed that guilt because the moment I came on the stage, I requested Dr. Narayanan place 4 more chairs over here and make them speak before I speak, because otherwise nobody will listen to me. Because I told him they have come to, the cameras are there to take their picture, the audience is there to listen to them. So at least by the time I come, that appetite would have been satiated, if not wholly to some extent. So some of them would be ready to listen to me. And then I said, see, you and I and others may be script writers, but the audience comes to see the hero and the heroine, not the script writer. So let's be modest enough. And I'm glad that you had an opportunity to spontaneously express yourself, and I'm sure they would have liked to talk to you more and more. And we as facilitators feel proud of you and also feel humbled. Now, coming back to what Dr. Narayanan was saying, that yes, a very significant point he made, but I'm afraid it might go out only as a part of a polite conversation when he said all are equal. So please don't think this is just an expression of politeness coming out from the chairman. In fact, we have created an asset for India. So all these 4 gentlemen, because the story began with Gaganyaan. Somewhere in 2018, I think the then chairman shared with us that India is ready to now send up a human being in this space. So we were very guarded. So I said, we must check our ourselves. And when ultimately it was made out that, yes, we could do it, then we thought we should have the announcement being made by the Prime Minister, because when Prime Minister announces from the ramparts of Red Fort, it becomes a declaration of intent and the whole world notices it. So we promised to each other, made a religious promise that we would not utter a single word before the Prime Minister has spoken from the Red Fort. And then all these guys came together, and the mission is still going on. It's just incidental that in between we had this. And Subhanshu has been there, but in 2027, when we have the first human mission, we'll have 2 of them going up. Maybe subsequently we have more. So this is a sustainable, continuous asset with us, the 4 of them. The mission for which they have been enrolled and registered is not over. It's just a stopover with the International Space Station. Now, coming back to the National Space Day, which the chairman was referring, अब उसमें क्या हुआ कि आज से ठीक 2 बरस पहले, इसी दिन, आज ही के दिन, हिंदुस्तान वो पहला मुल्क बन गया जो चंद्रमा के साउथ पोल पर पहुंचा. And that sent out a huge message to the world that look at India has arrived. India is now no longer a follower. On the contrary, India today beckons others to follow her. And that was a momentous occasion. और प्रधानमंत्री का ये सुझाव आया कि इस क्षण को, इस पल को, इस दिन को अंकित करने के लिए क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि प्रतिवर्ष ये दिवस मनाया जाए, राष्ट्रीय अंतरिक्ष दिवस. एंड आई थिंक ब्रॉडली द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स आर टू फोल्ड. एक तो हम इससे आत्ममंथन करें कि हम कहाँ खड़े हैं, कहाँ आगे जाना है, और दूसरा ये बच्चे प्रेरित होकर के देख सके कि कितने सारे इनके लिए अवसर, मौके इस क्षेत्र में मौजूद हैं. एंड टुडे व्हेन वी ऑब्जर्व दिस फॉर द सेकेंड टाइम, इसका एक विशेष महत्व बन जाता है. एक तो इसलिए कि अभी अभी एक्सियम 4 मिशन संपन्न हुआ है और उसमें भाग लेने का निमंत्रण वहां से आया था, यहां से नहीं गया. अर्थात भारत की प्रतिभाओं की मान्यता विश्व भर में हुई है. इट वॉज अ मिशन विच डिडंट ओरिजिनेट फ्रॉम इंडिया, नॉट डिड इंडिया कंसीव. लेकिन इसका अर्थ ये हुआ कि they now have started valuing Indian talent, Indian capabilities, and they feel that our boys, when they go there, they can add value to their mission. So that is the first message. और दूसरा इसका ये महत्व कि अभी कुछ ही सप्ताह, कुछ ही महीने पहले ऑपरेशन सिंदूर आपने देखा और स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी की भारत की क्षमताओं का प्रदर्शन धरती से आकाश तक. And all that you see and you saw was a very optimum synergy of the two of the departments which many of us are associated with, the Department of Space Technology and Department of Atomic Energy. But what is even more important is कि ये सारी क्षमताएं, ये सारी सलाहियतें गत 10 वर्षों में ही हासिल की गई. ये टेक्नोलॉजी का ट्रांसफर भी 10 सालों में हुआ, टेक्नोलॉजी का विकास भी 10 सालों में हुआ, और इस तरह की वॉरफेयर टेक्नोलॉजीज की परख करने का अवसर कब रहता है. ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ने हमें मौका दिया पाकिस्तान की धरती पर इसको परखने का. और दुनिया और विश्व को ये समझ में आया कि व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इन द लास्ट 11 years ऑफ द मोदी गवर्नमेंट. लेकिन विद ऑल द एनालिस्ट्स, द जर्नलिस्ट्स एंड द थिंकर्स सिटिंग इन दिस रूम, शायद एक दिन ये भी सवाल आएगा कि 70-80 साल तक ये क्यों कर ऐसा हुआ कि हमारा अंतरिक्ष विभाग अलग थलग पड़ा हुआ सुस्त रफ्तार में चलता रहा. और जब उसका जवाब ढूंढा जाएगा तो समझ में आएगी कुछ ऐसी बातें जिसकी ओर अभी प्रधानमंत्री जी इशारा कर रहे थे कि बहुत सारे क्रांतिकारी निर्णय लिए गए इन 7-8 वर्षों में. Now we are following the global benchmarks, we are following global strategies, we are following, because if we have to move on, we have to understand, we have to follow the global parameters. और उसमें सबसे बड़ा क्रांतिकारी निर्णय था ओपनिंग अप ऑफ द स्पेस टू द प्राइवेट सेक्टर. And this could have happened only because we had a Prime Minister who has the courage of conviction to break the taboos of the past, to take out-of-box decisions. And one of the media friends very rightly had pointed out that day while reporting it, that Modi has opened India's space, and rather Modi has unlocked India's space. And of course, for the first time, the gates of Sriharikota were open to all. अब इसका अर्थ ये हुआ, और ये हमारे लिए एक सबक की बात भी है, because we have this day prompts us also to introspect what could have been done, what was not done, what could have been done, what could be done now at least. हमारे पास प्रतिभाओं की कभी कमी ना थी, योग्यता भी थी, काबिलियत भी थी, क्षमता भी थी, सलाहियत भी थी, आंखों में सपने भी थे, दिल में अरमान भी थे, हाथों में मेहनत करने का मादा भी था. लेकिन शायद वो अनुकूलता ना थी जो नीति निर्धारकों के स्तर से अपेक्षित होती है, या वो सपोर्ट सिस्टम ना था जो राजनीतिक नेतृत्व से अपेक्षित होता है. आपने देखा हो किस प्रकार से सारा भाई ने अपना सामान साइकिल पर उठा करके कैरेज में ले जाने का भी काम किया. So what was lacking was that enabling milieu, and that was provided after 2014 when Prime Minister Modi took over and the department started reporting directly to him. And that is the difference. And that is a lesson for us. We already were late. We could have done that earlier. And once that has happened, the outcomes are miraculous. Some of these were pointed out by the Prime Minister, some of them pointed out by the Chairman. We were almost a dismal economy, naam matra space. Today we are $8 billion US in the next 8 to 10 years. The projections are rising so fast, the graph is ascending so fast that we might increase 4 or 5 times to $40–45 billion, which in other words means that space would be an important component, and space economy would be an important component of India's future economic growth as India moves from rank 4 to rank 3, 2, 1 and so on. And now we have become the mainstream players in India's economic growth. We are no longer sitting in the periphery and just doing some odd experiments in the lab which are of no relevance to the country's overall growth. Startup ko dekhiye, till about 3–4 years back, there was hardly a concept of startup in space sector. Today we have nearly 400 startups, and many of them have the world potential. Many of them have turned into lucrative entrepreneurs. It's become, it's emerged as a huge avenue of entrepreneurship. Suddenly, I was seeing in the engineering colleges, the aerospace option in engineering has suddenly gone up. And the reflection of that comes when we receive requests for the internship which happens in the 3rd year of their course. और ये सब पिछले 3–4–5 सालों में हुआ. यानी ये हो सकता था, मगर ना हुआ. And that could be also a lesson for us to follow. अब कुछ लोग ये कहते हैं कि साहब ये रॉकेट भेजने से क्या होगा? तो हो गया तो क्या हुआ? अब रॉकेट तो गया, इसी से आप लोग यहाँ इकट्ठा हुए इन सबको देखने के लिए. ना जाता तो कैसे होता? There is a huge amount of romanticism. जब कोई पिक्चर आने वाली होती है तो उसका ट्रेलर दिखाते हैं, उसमें वो कहानी नहीं दिखाते, वो सैड सॉन्ग नहीं दिखाते, उसमें वो दिखाते हैं जो आपको टिकल करता है, बाकी सब बाद में. But the sending up a rocket, of course, is a romantic exercise. It associates you with that area of work. But our 80%, 70% of the work in space technology is dedicated to what the Honorable Prime Minister briefly referred. We have created for the world an entirely unique model of the application of space technology to bring in ease of living in the life of a common citizen, in our infrastructure projects, in our development projects. And virtually, space technology has entered every Indian household, although the householders may not be aware that they are using space technology. It's quietly entered into your doorstep. And some of our space technology projects are now being emulated by the rest of the world. Gati Shakti ka bhi Pradhan Mantri ji ne zikr kiya. I think the first of its kind, when you monitor the infrastructure projects, you save on time, you save on money. When we grow in economy, it's not only what the kind of wealth we generate, also the kind of wealth we save. And that is the model of Gati Shakti. Swamitra program, drone ke saath mil karke, you can map your own land. You made citizen the master of his destiny. You have put Patwari out of job, which was such a sought-after job in this country. Telemedicine, disaster, as Prime Minister was mentioning. We are now providing even to the neighbors the inputs for that. Most of our housing programs, Amrit housing project, our smart cities project, defense का मैंने जिक्र करने की जरूरत नहीं, आपने ऑपरेशन संदूर अपनी आंखों से देख लिया. So it's not only confined only to the setting up of rockets, because that is equally important. और इसलिए, I won't take long, but जो Axiom Commission, of course, much has been talked about it by the chairman, also been talked about the 4 astronauts, and also referred to by the Prime Minister. But what possibly is missed out is that even the participation of one of these four gentlemen, Shubhashu, in that Axiom mission is closely aligned with the Modi government's flagship programs and the Modi government's priority ideals. And I'll tell you how, because most of us, we are all from the science fraternity, we're not making a polite or a political speech. What he did, whether it was life sciences, plant physiology, is going to have a huge relevance even for the people living on the earth. जो microgravity में इन्होंने study किया, myogenesis, what happens when the muscles get wasted because of disuse, how to strategize their recovery, is very much relevant. Most of our diseases, like for example, we have in type 2 diabetes mellitus, we have so also in some of the malignancies. We also have that following these ordinary incidents of bone fractures where you have to be bedridden or confined to bed, and then you are asked to do physiotherapy. So how do you strategize? So it's going to have a huge benefit for the people living on the earth, and benefit not confined only to the 140 crore Indians, to the entire mankind, and therefore विश्व बंधु भारत जो बार-बार प्रधानमंत्री जी कहते हैं, उसका प्रतीक Axiom 4 मिशन रहा है. The experiments performed by an Indian with the Indian material and the Indian literature, but the benefit is for the rest of the world as well, and equally as much. Secondly, all these kits which he carried to the space were developed over here. The Department of Biotechnology, which is also a part of the Ministry of Science and Technology, our institute over here, close by in Delhi itself, contributed to that. The other Institute of Biotechnology, the INSTEM in Bengaluru, the CSIR Institute, we have over here again, the ICGEB. So there was CSIR, there was biotechnology, there were the IITs, there were the Indian Institute of Sciences, Bengaluru, where Professor Sood has been a distinguished faculty. So इस सब का क्या मतलब हुआ? इस सब का मतलब हुआ whole of government and whole of nation. Again, this is what in the last 10 years we have been seeking to propagate. और तीसरा, एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कंडक्ट करने वाला हिंदुस्तानी, सामग्री हिंदुस्तानी. तो क्या अर्थ हुआ? मेक इन इंडिया एंड आत्मनिर्भर भारत. So you can understand, in a single sojourn of just about 2 weeks, we have proved to the world that India can be Atmanirbhar Bharat, that India can be Vishwa Hindu Bharat, and India can also perform in an integrated, synergized fashion involving each and every citizen. So that's the most important lesson, and of course the outcomes, as I said. Now the theme which the chairman was referring to, I think India has an advantage over the rest of the world which many other countries don't have. We have the asset of the traditional knowledge. And we are trying to institutionalize it, we are trying to digitalize it. Even in CSIR, we have set up a traditional knowledge digital library. So I have fancifully called it TKDL because that is what the youngsters understand. If you give them a big name, they don't understand. But if you give them an acronym, that sounds fancy. So it is called TKDL. So we have the advantage of combining our traditional knowledge with the cutting edge technology, which is not so in case of other nations, other countries, and that is why very thoughtfully the theme today is Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, ancient wisdom to infinite possibilities, and the exhibition which has been laid out outside is also depicted here. Our journey from those ancient times to today, and also what is to be followed tomorrow. And as far as the upcoming missions are concerned, Chairman was trying to enumerate, but I think what is important to understand is that this year particularly has been very, very significant for ISRO. 2024 ended with SpaceX, and 2025 began with NAVIC. And now, of course, we'll have Vayomitra, and then 27 Gaganyaan, then 28 Chandrayaan 4, then Venus and Bharat Antariksh Station 2035. And of course, again and again, it has been said that 2040, an Indian landing on the surface of the moon, but do you know what is the implication? हम बार बार हर मंच से कह रहे हैं कि सन 2047 जब हिंदुस्तान अपनी आज़ादी की 100वीं सालगिरह पर आएगा तो विकसित भारत, लेकिन हमें अभी ये नहीं समझ में आया कि उससे ठीक 7 साल पहले एक हिंदुस्तानी चांद की धरती से खड़ा होकर ये ऐलान करेगा कि 7 साल बाद हिंदुस्तान विकसित भारत बनने वाला है. The first declaration of the arrival of Viksit Bharat is going to be made from the surface of moon. ये उड़ान इसी तरह जारी रहे, ये प्रवास इसी तरह जारी रहे और इसी तरह हिंदुस्तान आसमान और ब्रह्मांड की बुलंदियों पर फतेह हासिल करता रहे. जैसे एक बार अल्लामा इकबाल ने उसी बुलंदी का जिक्र करते हुए कहा था कि खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. इसी कामना के साथ, इसी दुआ के साथ, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Your guidance has been the driving force behind India's quantum leaps in space, science. Under your leadership, reforms have taken shape, young innovators have found their wings, and India's space story has become a source of global admiration. Sir, your words today not only inspire this gathering, but also reaffirm our confidence that under your leadership, India will script some of the most glorious chapters in humanity's cosmic journey. आपके नेतृत्व ने भारत की अंतरिक्ष यात्रा को नई दिशा और नया वेग दिया है. आपके प्रेरणादायी शब्द हमें अनंत संभावनाओं की ओर बढ़ने का संकल्प भी देते हैं. We thank you so much, sir. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, once again for the Honorable Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji. And with that, we come to the end of this inaugural session. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly once again grateful to the Honorable Minister of State for Space for his presence, his vision, and unstinting support for India's space-driven governance and development. And now we will take a break for tea coffee. Tea coffee for VIPs has been arranged at the Leaders Lounge. All our esteemed dignitaries and our senior dignitaries seated in the front rows will exit from your stage left, that side. And the rest of the participants, all of us, ladies and gentlemen, will take a quick tea coffee break of 10 minutes and will exit from your stage right, which is my left, from that side. And then we will come back to the plenary hall for the opening session. So I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to come back in just 10 minutes while we rearrange the days. And at this juncture, I request you to, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and give a thunderous round of applause once again to the Honorable Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji. Thank you once again, sir. And the photographers have come up. We may need a photograph, but we are going to wait for the dignitaries to exit from that side. Please don't go from that side. The other participants, I invite you to please take this exit. And with that, we'd also like to request all the students present with us to kindly proceed for tea and refreshment. Students, also take this opportunity to visit the exhibition outside, and after this, your participation for the inaugural session concludes and you may take leave. We thank you wholeheartedly, students, for joining us today and for being such an important part of India's National Space Day celebrations. So thank you to all the students. Do have your tea, coffee, and also visit the exhibition before you leave. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in just 10 minutes, we will come back and we will begin with the next session, the opening session of National Space Day 2025. And I request you to please come back in that much time. We will start on time, ladies and gentlemen, without delaying it any further. So I invite you to please quickly take a cup of tea or coffee and then come back to this plenary hall where we will start with the opening session quite immediately. So don't miss the beginning. Come back soon. And please take your seats in this very hall once again for the opening session. And thank you very much once again.
He can if he wants. Or there. I'll go that side. Yeah, fine. It will work.
Good work.
Is it okay to use this podium or shall I go that side? Because sir wants to use... Yeah,
Kalinga will not be there.
We will not do this.
Welcome everyone for the opening session.
And then introduction by Mr. Ganesh. I'm going that side though because sir wants to use this podium. This mic as well. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with the opening session very shortly. And for this reason, I request you all to please now take seats. I thank you very much for your kind cooperation. We don't want to miss the opening keynote, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Please do join us and be seated. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I thank you very much for being here with us for India's second National Space Day celebrations. And now, we are about to begin with the opening session. And we have a very distinct personality in our midst. He's going to be introduced and then invited to this stage, ladies and gentlemen, to render his keynote address. But we need to get this house in order before that, which is why I invite all our esteemed participants to kindly make their way back into this room and be seated. We have truly a very powerful theme for this year's National Space Day. And as we revel in that theme, at the heart of this theme truly lies a very powerful truth that India's space journey is as much about people as it is about planets. And every mission uplifts the nation's confidence, inspires its youth, strengthens governance here on Earth, from agriculture to disaster management, from communication to climate resilience. And it gives me a lot of pride to say that as we carry the torch from Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, we affirm that our progress in space will always serve humanity's greater good. So in saying that, our heritage roots us, our innovations propel us forward, and our vision opens the doors to possibilities that are truly infinite. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin very, very shortly. I invite you all to please take seats now. And I thank you very much for your kind cooperation. Welcome back, sir. It is truly heartening to see the anticipation, also excitement we have for the opening keynote. We don't want to miss it, and it is only evident with people coming back from their tea coffee break only for this. So I invite all those of you, once again, this is an announcement for everybody who's outside and can possibly hear me. And for all those of you who are seated in the audience, If you would like to call your colleagues, give them a call, remind them that the opening session has to start and we don't want to miss it. It is unmissable, ladies and gentlemen, truly. So I'd like to request you all to please give a call to all your colleagues so that we can all gather back in the plenary hall for this opening session. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and I request you to please now be seated. I thank you very much. Just waiting for a few more people, ladies and gentlemen, since they're all making their way into the room and the doors haven't been shut yet. We're still awaiting all of the participants to come back to this plenary hall and take seats. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen. Please do join us, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can take seats. We have to begin with the opening session, and we seek your cooperation in getting this house in order. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We will begin with the opening session very, very shortly now. And as we gear up for the opening session, I'm just thoughtful, and you'll agree with me, that space has a way of humbling us and inspiring us at the same time. Whether it's Chandrayaan touching the moon or Gaganyaan preparing to carry Indians into space, every success tells the world that India is not just participating in the space age, we are indeed shaping it. And that just one, if you think of it as this, that just one generation ago, space seemed so far, distant and unreachable. And today, every Indian child also grows up knowing that the moon, Mars, and even space stations are within our reach. So that is the power of India's space story. It truly turns dreams into missions. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, I have been given a signal that we will begin in only under a minute. So I'm going to request all of our esteemed participants, our eminent delegates. We've got 1 more minute to quickly approach plenary hall, reach our seats, and firmly position ourselves here for a very, very illuminated keynote address, ladies and gentlemen, which we do not want to miss. We have our esteemed delegates joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will begin with the opening session of National Space Day 2025. And I want to begin by saying, in fact, quoting a Sanskrit invocation that embodies our spirit today. Anantam tu patantu ayamya swabhimani cha, which translates to, may we soar boundlessly with dignity and self-respect. And just as our space endeavors stretch across infinite frontiers, may our national progress also ride on wings of integrity and innovation. And at this opening session of National Space Day 2025, this is, ladies and gentlemen, where ideas take center stage as we reflect on India's extraordinary journey from heritage to horizon, from Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan. And to begin, let me take the privilege of inviting Mr. Ganesh Pillai, Scientific Secretary, ISRO, to kindly introduce our keynote speaker, and then we will invite him. So I'm going to request him, shall I call the keynote speaker myself first? All right, so we will first request our keynote speaker to grace the stage. May I invite, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of privilege, the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor A.K. Sood. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We are so grateful to you for sparing the time, taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us today for this keynote. And now I request Mr. Ganesh Pillai, Scientific Secretary, ISRO, to kindly do the honors of introducing him. Sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, respected delegates, and esteemed colleagues. It's my honor and privilege to introduce a remarkable individual who stands at the forefront of India's scientific and technology journey, Professor Ajay Kumar Sood, the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India since 2022, a role of strategic importance that places science and technology at the heart of national development. Professor Sood is one of the country's most accomplished physicists with a career spanning over 4 decades. His contribution to the science are not only deeply academic, but also profoundly national, influencing policies, nurturing innovation, ecosystems, and guiding the integration of science with public good. He is also serving as the chairperson of Prime Minister's Science, Technology, and Innovation Advisory Council. The National Science Chair Professor at the Indian Institute of Science, IISc Bangalore, Professor Sood is globally respected for his pioneering research, which has led to critical advancements in nanotechnology and soft matter physics. With a doctorate in physics from IISc Bangalore, research interest in the physics of quantum materials, soft and active matters, he has published over 450 scientific papers, and his work is recognized with numerous accolades, including the Padma Shri, one of the highest civilian awards, the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, Prize, G.D. Birla Award for Scientific Research, the TWAS Prize in Physics, the Millennium Gold Medal of the Indian Science Congress Association, the Sri C.V. Raman Award of the UGC, the Homi Bhabha Medal of Indian National Science Academy, G.M. Modi Award for Science and Technology, and Ashutosh Mukherjee Memorial Lifetime Award by Indian Science Congress. Professor Sood has held leadership position in all major Indian science academies, like the President of Indian National Science Academy, the President of Indian Academy of Sciences, and Secretary General to the World Academy of Science, Italy. He was also elected to FRS, the Fellowship of Royal Society, UK. As PSA, Professor Sood's mandate includes shaping science and technology policy, catalyzing cross-sector collaboration, and building robust research and innovation frameworks to advance India's self-reliance and global competitiveness. Professor Sood is not only a scientist of extraordinary caliber, but also a visionary who understands the need for synergy between academia, industry, and government to build a future that is inclusive, knowledge-driven, and sustainable. It's truly a privilege to have him with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Professor Ajay Kumar Sood, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. Sir, please.
Honorable dignitaries here present in the hall, the Secretary, Department of Space and Chairman ISRO, Dr. Narayanan, past Chairman, Dr. Somnath, the entire ISRO fraternity from academia and from government, all of you, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a very big privilege for me to be a part of this momentous day, celebrating second National Space Day, which really marks the arrival of India on this technology scene in a very big manner in the last few years. We heard very inspiring progress and the vision in the last 2 hours in the presentation by the Secretary, Dr. Narayanan, inspiring speech by our Honorable Prime Minister, and the 2 videos which were played highlighting where India has come starting from almost like 50 years back, and what is the vision for the next 40 to 50 years as was presented in their Manthan, in their vision document So this really makes all Indians very proud of what ISRO has achieved and what ISRO aspires to achieve. So please join me in congratulating ISRO once again and really see their progress from almost day to day. I have had the privilege to be associated with some of their programs in the last few years, and it is very heartwarming to see the entire ISRO approach along with other ministries to take the agenda forward for Viksit Bharat. Now, this presentation, which I was invited, thank you very much, but I have a challenge because whatever I wanted to say has already been said in the last 1 hour. So what I will do now, from a perspective of a non-ISRO person, I will see how things have come up and what are the challenges. So I thought in this presentation, I will see where we stand and where we need to go. So first of all, the theme of this National Space Day is again very beautiful. Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, ancient wisdom to infinite possibilities. So let me start with our Honorable Prime Minister's quote. There should be no space between common man and space technology. This really exemplifies the spirit of what ISRO wants to achieve, how the space technology has to influence common man's lives and make and contribute to ease of living. So if you look at the progress from 1962, the way it started in COSPAR, ISRO established in 1969, 1975, Aryabhatta was launched, and then we had our own vehicles, SLV-3, Chandrayaan-1 in 2008, 2013, Mars Orbiter, 2023, historic day where we had this concept of National Space Day initiated by Honorable Prime Minister, 2023, and now very recently, astronaut on Axiom-4 and many other missions which were elaborated in the earlier presentation, Aditya L1 and so on. So this really tells how fast or how efficiently we have come, and we really need to go even at a higher speed with much more efficiency to achieve our goals. So this Space Day 2025 really sees a continuum of innovation, celebrating unbroken chain of scientific curiosity from ancient India to modern space missions. We have the theme of universal inspiration, namely every citizen can dream big and harness space technology for societal goods, as exemplified by many programs of ISRO. Self-reliance, absolutely essential from theoretical calculations to practical space technology. That's the journey of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And the cultural pride with all of that, namely the ancient knowledge systems meeting cutting-edge technologies, and that is India's unique contribution to global space exploration. So if you look at India's space economy and Viksit Bharat 2047, as Honorable Prime Minister said, again I will quote, Indian rockets carry more than payloads. They carry the dreams of 1.4 billion Indians. So if you look at $8.4 billion is our current value of the Indian space economy, which is 2% of global space economy. The target by 2030 is $44 billion, which is the 8% of global economy, and 15% of the global market share by 2047. And I'm sure this will be achieved even before, in 2040, as was elaborated. And I'm sure these numbers are just indicators, but I'm sure the ISRO will do its best to even surpass what is projected. Economic impact is extremely inspiring. For every dollar invested, the return, as was done in a recent report, is $2.4. Employments, 4.7 million jobs created, and where the 96,000 jobs are the direct jobs, and industry growth, which we have heard in the last 2 hours. We have now 400 plus private space companies, 200 plus startups which are active in 2024. So if you look at India's journey, I will only take the recent one since Chandrayaan 3. 2 years ago, India united in pride as Chandrayaan 3 achieved historic landing on South Pole. Since then, we have the SpaceX mission success, the docking of the 2 satellites, Gaganyaan progress. We have Nisar launch, we have seen a few weeks back, where there is a wonderful collaboration between ISRO and NASA. Gaganyaan is in progress, and Group Captain Shukla's Axiom 4 ISS journey is inspiration to all the Indians and even internationally. So, if you ask me, what are the learnings from Gaganyaan? Because this is a moment to reflect what we have learned. So, here we can see that it's a famous saying that simulations, namely the computer simulations, can take you far, but nothing replaces actual space flight experience. So this is non-negotiable. The space flight experience is non-negotiable in this journey. So you have really bridging experimental gap insights beyond training rooms. That is what it has. It is the learning from Gaganyaan. First-hand experience for Group Captain Shukla and ISRO ground team. This is very, very valuable. And perspective on astronaut training, curriculum, emergency preparation, health monitoring, and microgravity adaptation. And you also know that 7 experiments aboard ISS were done by Group Captain Shukla, and these were among almost 60 scientific studies and activities representing 31 countries. So India is a player in this, and this is what I'll elaborate little bit as I go along. So I thought at this stage, since occasionally there have been some discussion, what are the what have we gained out of this Gaganyaan? So as a outsider, I thought I'll just reflect this. When you say it's a high cost, that is absolutely wrong. The cost must be seen as an investment in de-risking Gaganyaan, and human experience in a space flight is experience driven, and it is not only technology or engineering driven. Foreign route, yes. Other advanced space agencies like ESA and JAXA flew astronauts on NASA ISS mission to gain valuable experience and expertise before embarking on more independent programs. Short duration, no. Globally recognized as ideal for first-time astronauts. For example, China's Shonos 5, it was only for 21 hours. Gaganyaan's first crew flight itself is planned to be short duration, as we will see. And technical return is very, very important. We had 7 Indian experiments were flown, which were collaborated with other agencies with ISRO, producing real data on plant growth, microbial adaptation, pterygids, muscle atrophy, and screen exposure in space. So these are all invaluable achievements of this mission. And India's participation in Axiom 4, again I'll repeat what has been mentioned, is a controlled precursor experiment designed to de-risk Gaganyaan. Now I will just highlight a few points about microgravity experiments. In my view, it is a huge opportunity for India to really invest in microgravity experiments. And these 7 experiments which have been done, I think it's a very small beginning, but we can really build on it. And this is where I suggest that ISRO should see. I know they have programs. Microgravity experiments, I know when I was in my other life as a scientist, there used to be microgravity experiments, but over the years, they lost the shine. But I feel that with this new impetus, this microgravity experiments once again will be at the center stage. For example, many of you might be dealing with optical fiber in your daily life because that's how communication is done. In this context, because the optical fiber is very essential for India's digital economy and telecom growth, it demands next generation fiber with higher efficiency. And here, microgravity is a very important platform which will eliminate convection, sedimentation and buoyancy that enables longer and purer fibers. For example, already ISS experiments in Zeblan fibers, which is really no country would like to share with us or with anyone, it has shown 10x more data capacity than silica, reducing energy cost in long distance networks. So this is what we should see, how we can have a manufacturing module similar to ISS microgravity glove box to be planned on Bharatiya Antariksh Station. And also focus on simulated microgravity on ground for fiber optics manufacturing. So this is something, a lesson which we can see how do we move forward. Of course, another area is the additive manufacturing, and this is something which is essential for the long duration space flights. When you have your Antariksh station, we should have the ability to manufacture things in situ in space, which is important for planning for long space voyages. So this is something which we need to see, how do we set up this additive manufacturing and how do we develop this capability on space stations. So we can have our initial experiments, miniature lab on satellites. We can leverage small satellites with modular experimental base on PSLV ride shares for short duration microgravity experiment till BAS becomes functional. This is something one can think about it. And reusable launch vehicle, RLV, for short duration microgravity experiments with rapid recovery, offering quick cycle of microgravity research. Because as you know, RLV is on the ISRO's agenda, and I again suggest this is where we can also look at the miniature lab for this microgravity experiments. Again, another area which is inspiring to build is can we build simulated microgravity experiments, facilities for long duration microgravity test, reducing our dependency on orbital slots. This is something again, I'm sure ISRO must be thinking about it. Here the good news is there is already a team, I understand, which is extraterrestrial manufacturing, research group at IIT Madras Microgravity Lab. And this is something we need to again see how we can amplify this effort. So this is something I thought I'll put my thoughts for your consideration. Global cooperation, India being among the top 5 spacefaring nations, can lead the global south through an international microgravity research network where India provides launch and payload services while partner countries contribute to experiment. So another possibility for ISRO to look at. It brings me to deeper impacts in society, which have been mentioned, how ISRO has set up 473 village resource centers for rural development through satellite technology in the past. Of course, our Office of PSA has this RUTAG Smart Village Centers, RSVC, a pivotal step towards bridging the gap between rural needs and technology advancements. And there, we use the images, satellite images, to help the farmers in planning their activities and also do many other assistance through this RSVC. And this is something we have seen, we heard how space technology is absolutely essential in disaster relief. EduSat, which was launched many years back, much before its time, our country being the only one at that time. The SITE program, namely the Satellite Instructional Television Experiment in 1975, if I am not wrong, where 2,400 television sets were set up in villages. We have the weather forecast, potential fishing zone prediction, looking at the sea surface temperature and chlorophyll, done where INCOIS is very heavily involved. Sodic land reclamation, again looking at the sodium content in soil, telemedicine, watershed management. All these things have positively impacted lives of common people since decades. And this is the theme of ISRO's progress and the ISRO's vision, if I understand right, over the time to come. The game-changing decision which was taken by this government to bring startups in space sector, a lot of it has been said, I will not repeat. We have the Technology Adoption Fund, we have the Seed Fund scheme, and we have Satellite Bus as a service. All this will have a lot of impacts, which I have written, I will not repeat, but this is the way we need to see how we empower the space startups as we go along. This is something which we are very proud of. We have the in-space vision, targeting $44 billion economy. Already 38 authorizations have been issued to 23 private entities. State-level space policies are also coming up. We have Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, and more recently Andhra Pradesh, where Dr. Somnath is involved. We have the incubation and sport infra with Atal Incubation Centers, ISRO Incubation, facility access and technology transfer. All this is very inspiring to see how startups are becoming more and more a part of the space journey and taking it forward. I will not repeat this, but again to say how we have grown from one startup to almost 229 startups in mid-2024 and even more now. And this is where the funds which have been raised by startups have also gone manifold. So we have the private launches, innovation areas, applications, all fronts where the startups are playing a role. I will not repeat, there are many notable players. They have the stalls outside. Good to see that in last few years, all these have become really the household name and so on. Again, maybe 2 weeks back, a major development where InSpace awarded the contract to design, build and operate a 12 satellite constellation to Pixel Space-led consortium, which has players like Dhruva Space, PeerSite and Satshore, again, I'm repeating because it has been said this morning, but I thought it is again emphasizing how we are really coming of age to really enhance India's data sovereignty and reduce dependence on foreign sources by providing analysis-ready data, value-added services, and so on. And this project has all the 4 satellite types: optical, hyperspectral, multispectral, and SAR. This is something which India's space science future. We have heard from Dr. Narayanan what are the things lined up. We have a new generation launch vehicle. We have Bharatiya Antariksh Station. We have the reusable launch vehicle. We have the air-breathing propulsion system in scramjet engines, electric propulsion, and so on. So if you look at the future, it looks extraordinarily bright, inspiring for youth, and inspiring for the whole country. We have launch systems which have to become faster, they have to become cheaper, they have to become greener, and they have to be reusable. And this is the integrated approach which ISRO is taking to take India forward in this space journey. R&D in space technology is a step towards technology sovereignty of any country, and India in particular. We have to have a strategic independence where R&D can enable reducing dependencies on foreign technology for critical space missions. Cost efficiency, this is really in our genes. Indigenous solutions, significantly lower mission costs. And propulsion indigenization, where R&D can enable reducing dependencies on foreign technology for critical space missions. This is something which is happening, and I'm sure as we meet here next year for National Space Day, we will hear more success stories along these lines. India's strategic tech diplomacy for space is not to be missed. We have global launch services where 400 plus satellites have been launched for 34 nations. Extremely nice. This number will go up, earning almost $174 million revenue. And we have heard partnership with ESA. We have heard ISS mission, where Group Captain Shook's Axiom-4 partnership. And more recently, about a month back, NASA-ISRO collaboration through this NISAR mission launched on 30th July. This is where our mantra is: India's cost-effective and reliable services make it a preferred launch partner. This is the ISRO unique selling point, and I'm sure with all this, we will really do much, much more as we go along. India's strategic tech diplomacy for space is also something which we are very proud of. India-France has a 50 plus years of excellence. Joint Vision 2018 started through Megatropic, Saral and Trishna missions, Gaganya's support from CNES, maritime surveillance, again established in 2019, and future Oceanosat 3, Argos, lunar rover navigation support, and India-Japan space collaboration, again something which is growing. So cooperation between CNES and ISRO is among the most long-standing and successful in astronautics, as was recently pointed out by Philippe Beptse. I'll just close it again repeating what was again mentioned, that how the involvement of youth is absolutely essential, because they are really the future when we go towards Viksit Bharat. So we is glad to see that ISRO has Yuvika program. 153 students from 36 states participated in 2022. We have heard a few minutes back this hackathons and this robotics program and awards. My congratulations to all the winners. Tinkering Labs, Smart India Hackathon, Unnati program and Space Tutor Initiative, where 56 registered space tutors are already across India. This is something which again will prepare our youth for future. So with this, let me once again congratulate ISRO, entire ISRO fraternity, all of you for being a part of this magnificent journey, achieving all these milestones and really inspiring us to do much better as we go along. And with the leadership which is there in the country and the spirit of the whole of government approach and whole of all the sectors, be it national labs, be it academia, be it startups, be it the government towards policy making, all of them coming together to really achieve the vision of what ISRO has highlighted in their Manthan Chintan Shivir a few weeks back, and we all look forward to this journey and really applaud them appropriately. Please join me in applauding once again the ISRO efforts. Thank you very much for having me here amongst you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Sood, for that thought-provoking keynote. We request you to stay with us as we want to take this opportunity to felicitate your presence here. So I'm going to request our Secretary, Department of Space, Chairman, Space Commission, Chairman, ISRO, Dr. V. Narayanan, to please help us felicitate his gracious presence here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful address. Sir, your vision enriches India's space journey with wisdom and direction, and your words today inspire us to aim higher as we move forward towards Viksit Bharat. Thank you very much once again. We cannot thank you enough. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Professor Ajay Sood. Thank you very much, sir. So let's have a huge round of applause once again for Professor A.K. Sood, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. Thank you once again, sir. And thank you once again, Chairman, sir, for doing the honors. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will now very quickly, very swiftly transit into the panel discussion. But before that, we've got a video to play for you. So I would just like to say that let us now watch a film on the first Gaganyatri in the International Space Station, a very proud milestone in our human spaceflight journey. Let's take a look.
As the first light of dawn breaks across the Indian horizon, a new chapter in our nation's story is being written. From the strength of our civil infrastructure to the brilliance of our scientific minds, India has risen as a leader in space technology. In this new era of exploration, Space 4.0, the world's leading spacefaring nations are setting their sights on the moon, Mars, and beyond. With a vision that matches the scale of our nation's aspirations, the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, set the course for a new era in Indian space exploration. From the ramparts of the Red Fort on 15th August 2018, the Honorable Prime Minister announced the prestigious Gaganyaan program, a pledge that India will send his or her own Gaganyatri into space aboard an Indian spacecraft from Indian soil.
मां भारत का कोई संतान अंतरिक्ष में जाएंगे.
Following this announcement, the Human Spaceflight Center has initiated crucial technology development programs, from crew module systems to life support and training infrastructure. In parallel, ISRO, in collaboration with the Indian Air Force, conducted a rigorous astronaut selection process and identified the first batch of Gaganyatris. As the Gaganyaan program advanced, its scope expanded to include the Bharatya Antariksh Station, India's own orbital platform, To gain direct experience in human spaceflight operations, ISRO entered into an agreement with Axiom Space for a 2-week mission to the International Space Station. For this mission, Gaganyatri Shubhanshu Shukla was selected as the prime crew member, with Prashant Balakrishnan Nair as the backup. To ensure the success of this landmark mission, a high-level delegation and mission operations team led by Chairman ISRO have visited the Kennedy Space Center and the Johnson Space Center in the United States. The team closely worked with our Gaganyatri, NASA and Axiom Space experts, overseeing launch operations, reviewing mission protocols, and monitoring operational readiness, reinforcing India's active role in this international human space endeavor. Also noteworthy is the critical role played by Team ISRO, led by Dr. V. Narayanan, during the pre-launch operations of this mission. Timely intervention by the ISRO expert team ensured successful launch and the safety of the crew members. This showcases the technical expertise and the skills of the Indian space community. On the morning of June 25th, 2025, at 2:31 a.m. EDT, the Falcon 9 rocket lifted Gaganyatri Shubhanshu Shukla, mission pilot of AX-4 mission, from the Kennedy Space Center towards the International Space Station. Hours after launch, the crew dragon gently docked with the International Space Station. As the hatch opened, the first Indian Gaganyatri entered into ISS. Over nearly 3 weeks in orbit, the crew carried out pioneering experiments in life sciences and new technologies. Our Gaganyatri have conducted 7 cutting-edge microgravity experiments designed by Indian researchers, demonstration of yoga in space, thus blending science and culture in a way only India could achieve. On June 28, 2025, orbiting 400 kilometers above Earth, Gaganyatri Shubhanshu Shukla shared a warm and inspiring live interaction with the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. He declared that even though our Gaganyatri Shukla was far from home, he remained closest to the hearts of 1.4 billion Indians, calling this mission the first chapter in India's journey towards building its own space station and achieving Gaganyaan. He underlined its deeper significance for science and national pride. On 6th July 2025, Gaganyatri Shubhanshu Shukla spoke with the chairman of ISRO and provided live update on scientific experiments. Then, in a heartening exchange with students in school and other institutions across India, he reflected on Earth's unity with its borders no longer visible, noting how India looked grand and majestic, inspiring a new generation to reach for the stars. On the evening of July 13th, 2025, as their time aboard the ISS drew to a close, in a circular embrace of international friendship, the AX-4 and Expedition 73 crews gathered, exchanged mission patches, and shared a final photograph, a symbolic moment of unity, achievement, and shared pride. On July 15th, 2025, after a remarkable 18-day mission aboard the ISS, the AX-4 crew began their return journey to Earth. And at 2:31 a.m. PDT, Grace made a safe splashdown off the Pacific coast. Recovery teams swiftly boarded the capsule, confirming the health of Gaganyatri Shubhanshu Shukla and other crew members. It was a triumphant and emotional homecoming. In 1984, Rakesh Sharma captured the nation's imagination as India's first space hero. 4 decades later, the Axiom 4 mission marked a new chapter in India's human spaceflight journey. The valuable operational experience gained by the Gaganyatris and ISRO's mission operation team through this mission will be highly beneficial for Indian human space program in areas such as space station, orbital module systems, rendezvous and docking in human space missions, roles and responsibilities of ground teams, various mission scenarios including contingency planning, crew management protocols, as well as niche advanced astronaut training facilities for human space activities. India's gaze is firmly set on building the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, our own outpost in orbit. This station will be a living laboratory, a testament to cooperation, innovation, and the spirit of discovery. Beyond Earth's orbit lies the next great leap, an Indian Gaganyatri setting foot on the moon by 2040, a triumph of teamwork, resilience, and the shared dream of 1 billion people. From the first step on lunar soil, we will open doors for future explorers, proving that when a nation dreams together, there is no horizon we cannot reach.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving this video a watch. And now we will begin with our first panel discussion. And before we start with the panel discussions, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring to your attention that we also have the Slido app, which is a very democratic way of posting your questions. So we will just request the console team to put up the Slido QR code. There it is now. What you could do is you could scan using your camera this QR code, and this will lead you to a link. When you click that link, ladies and gentlemen, you will find that you can pose your questions during the panel discussion, and at the end of the session, it will be the moderator's discretion to take the more pressing and pertinent questions. So now with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with the first panel. The first panel is themed Space Vision 2047 Integrated Implementation at the National Level. And this panel on Space Vision 2047 will explore how India can integrate its national capabilities and realize the long-term vision of space leadership, from critical technologies and infrastructure to talent development, funding, sustainability, and public-private partnerships. These discussions will chart a roadmap for turning ambition into reality. It is my privilege to invite to the dais first our moderator, Shri M. Sankaran, Director, U.R. Rao Satellite Center, ISRO. Let's welcome him with a huge round of applause. Shri M. Sankaran is a distinguished scientist of the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. He took over as Director of U.R. Rao Satellite Center, URSC, and realization of all satellites of ISRO in 2021 in June. During his 37 years of rich experience and expertise of working on more than 120 satellites in URSC ISRO, he played a significant role leading the center in adopting new technological developments. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Let me now, let's extend a round of applause as we welcome him again. May I now take the privilege of calling on our panelists to the stage, Shri A. Rajarajan, Director, Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, ISRO. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause. Welcome, sir. May I also invite our other eminent panelists, Dr. Govindan Rangarajan, Director, Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. There he is. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause, please. Welcome, sir. Shri J.D. Patil, Member in Space Board and former whole-time Director, Defense, Space and Smart Technologies, Larsen & Toubro. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause. Shri J.D. Patil. Welcome, sir. Air Vice Marshal Pavan Kumar, DG, Defense Space Agency. And there he is. Let's welcome Air Vice Marshal Pavan Kumar. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And may I invite Srimati Revati Manapalli, Joint Wireless Advisor, WPC, Department of Telecommunications. Let's welcome the lady with a huge round of applause. Welcome, ma'am. And with that, I will now hand over the proceedings to our moderator, Shri M. Sankaran. Sir, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Actually, it is good afternoon now. As we have been hearing from yesterday, India has a space vision for 2047, and that vision includes not only the recently very well applauded human-centric missions and activities. It is also rooted on our long-term developmental goals
for this country, for both governance as well as for national development. In addition, we are also now looking at this long-term presence of humans as piloted by India in space. Though the goals have been set, the goals are very clear for us. It is up to us now to find a way to implement these goals. And to discuss this pathway ahead of us, we have this distinguished panel here. So before we go to the questions, let me request each one of the panelists to have 1 or 2 minutes of introductory remark, so that will set tone for our discussions. Maybe we can start with Madam Revati. Yes? I'm audible? No.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Very good afternoon. I'm very honored and privileged to be here among this distinguished panel. And I'm also grateful to ISRO and especially SATCOM Vivo for giving me this opportunity. My first thoughts, I think I'll take very less time. It is integrated implementation at national level. So when we look at, as a space especially, we have to see as an entire end-to-end ecosystem. It is little different from the terrestrial-based systems. When we are putting a space satellite there, space infrastructure, space assets, we have to simultaneously think about ground segment, including user terminal, how we are going to use and applications. I have one experience. Based on that, I'm just giving this comment. When we have put NAVIC satellites, we have satellites are operational, and ground segment we started working late. So the policies also should come parallelly so that common men will be able to use the satellite when it is already into the orbit. The second point, so when we do Space Vision 2047, probably in the whole government approach, all the government departments will come up with the policies so that the space entire ecosystem will be utilized on the day one when the satellite is going into the space. The second important point is about satellite orbit resources, spectrum orbit resources. You all know that any space beyond 100 kilometers above Earth is not in our control. It is managed by the ITU. It is on first come, first serve basis. We are planning of so many satellites, but to place them in the orbit there, we have to go and get that orbital rights. Otherwise, where we are going to place it? So that process almost starts 7 years ahead of it. When we are talking of lunar mission, Adityan and all, we have started filing somewhere in 2013-14. That is invisible, but it is very critical. So GSO we have something, but NGSO we don't have. What we have is for Earth observation or remote sensing. And with the space liberalization,
yes, ma'am.
I'm very happy.
This is an important point, which in fact we are going to discuss as part of my questions also. Yeah. It's a point is noted, we'll go ahead and discuss this.
Thank you.
Let me move on to Sri D.Y. Patil, who represents both industry as well as in space. Your thoughts, sir?
I must say that one difference between any other government department and ISRO is right from the day one, industry was extremely well integrated into what ISRO did. Given this, at those days, more than 54, 55 years back, when some of the earliest things started happening, it actually rubbed on to the industry in terms of what is called the precision manufacturing. When I look back, I start seeing that what ISRO began nearly those 5.5 decades back actually created enormous precision manufacturing and engineering kind of capabilities in Indian industry. And we always have heard that it's the strategic sectors that take a lead and other sectors follow. So my first thought when you asked me was, what is that ISRO has actually contributed to India? It has actually given to industry some of those capabilities which otherwise were unknown. And in the days when industry was not mature, it was enormous handholding through which all these capabilities got developed.
Thank you, sir. We'll now move on to our major user of the space assets, which is the armed forces today. So let us hear the thoughts from our Air Vice Marshal.
Good morning and thanks so much. To briefly cover introduction to this particular topic, Space Vision of 2047, I think firstly we should endeavor, of course, by 2047 we want to be a global leader in space. But I think when world looks at stars in 2047, they should look up to India. And if we want to achieve that objective, as far as strategic community is concerned, there are 5 main pillars I think we need to focus on. First is achievement of critical technologies in all the subdomains of space domain, that is ISR, PNT, communication, space situation awareness, countermeasures, and if I can include the 6th one, that is space weather. Second is capability development in terms of infrastructure, in terms of ground stations, I would say not only in India but abroad, because we all know the advantages. The HR, by 2047, if what was flashed, we will have n number of satellites, and if we have to have that, probably will require an army of engineers, scientists, operators, and visionaries. So HR development, how to introduce structured space curriculum in the universities, we will have to look at that. Third pillar, I would say, is the role played by academia and industry. Now, there are many academic institutes, at least we know, who have their individual centers of excellence. But are they working on the correct problem statement, which leads to startup, to industry, to DRDO, ISRO? That is something I think we need to sit and work out. Fourth is funding and collaboration. By collaboration, if I can spend 30 seconds on that, I think, if you carry out a scan of the entire globe, out of 190 countries, only 10 countries have space capability, India being in first 5, and which means there is potential for huge space diplomacy and huge space economy when we come to remaining 180 countries. And we are talking of the like-minded ones. And the last one is, we need to have a clear roadmap for next 10 to 20 years. If you analyze last few years, the way our various space projects have come up, you find idea to orbit time is very large. And 2047, that is 22 years hence, is not a long time. So whatever outcome is there of the National Meet 2.0 plus whatever we are discussing here, these ideas have to be implemented in case we want to achieve Space Vision 2047, primarily because of the gestation period. Otherwise, coming to strategic community, we strongly feel that in the years to come, it should be a dual-use network. We should have a national architecture. I think time for civil and military is over. It has to be a common network which is dual-use, whether we talk of ISR or whether we talk of communication. Thank you.
Thank you, Air Marshal. In fact, you have stolen my thoughts, my questions, and what I was going to ask you have already mentioned. Thank you for that. And now the regulator, the industry, and the users, the principal user have spoken. These 3 people have to be serviced by the 2 gentlemen who are sitting on the either side. One is HR, the human resource development through academia, the colleges, and my own colleague and friend Rajarajan, who is the director of the VSSC Center, now, who is responsible for the technology development. So we'll hear one after the other. We'll start with Professor Rangarajan.
Thank you. I think I'll just stick to some general remarks and more specific remarks in response to your questions, I presume. So, academia and ISRO have already, been together for a very long time. And speaking of my own institution, Indian Institute of Science, right from the origins of ISRO, we have been closely involved, right from Vikram Sarabhai, who went from IAC, then Satish Dhawan, who was jointly director of both IAC and chairman of ISRO. and so on. So, and many other institutions, not just IAC, have been closely involved. What I think has been the effect of ISRO on academia, I would like to just highlight that. It has, I think, given something for all students to be proud of, something that you can imagine can be done in, within India, especially in maybe a few decades ago. Most of the students from academia would always want to go to the US and so on to accomplish something. But ISRO, I think, gave the confidence to them that they can do something cutting edge, something world class right here in India. And that's how you see not just, people maybe from institutions like IAC, but you also see people from other maybe so-called second-tier institutions, but obviously they're not second-tier institutions, but so-called second-tier institutions have also contributed enormously to ISRO's development. And with that, I see whenever I interact with ISRO personnel, the humility and straightforwardness that I always encounter in ISRO is something remarkable. I think these are the qualities I think ISRO has shown to the country, shown that it can do world-class things in India, and I think there can be no better example than ISRO for all our students here to emulate and to aspire to join. So I'll stop here.
Thank you, Professor. Over to Radhirajan.
Thank you, Shankaran. After listening to all the eminent personalities and their thought process, as the Space Vision 2047 has been clearly spelled out, and it's all based on the abilities and capabilities that we have demonstrated, and based on that, considering all the Committee of the Nations, where we should be in space arena, has been well thought of, based on the available inputs. As we all know, ISRO, the basic technocrats and all those people, now, after the space policy, a lot of things have been put forward. There is a big tide of startups and industries which has now come forward. So far, we envisage a print to build, that type of things. Now we are asking them to, we only want to give an RFD, like requirement document, for newer things and industry to come up further in many of the areas. Already all the industries academy are wedded to the ISRO's program, very well from the beginning as stated by all. So the point here is, when we want to have an inclusive, effective and affordable solutions for all those aspirations and able to do both research, effective solution on space. For this, ISRO as well as InSpace, all those team has been put in place to enable a more effective interaction so that people also come with solutions. So that also I want to see how effective this can be used so that we speed up our development. What we have done for the last 60 years, now remaining, whatever we have put, we have to start doing it in another 15 years. So that is the speed in which we have to go. I think everything has been set to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the tone has been set by the panelists. Let me start with the first question to Sri Patil. See, we have been hearing from yesterday that all the operational or applications to be taken up by industry and only the niche or new development activities to be taken by organizations by ISRO. Now, when we are looking at the scenario, today the major demand creator for this space systems, the launch vehicles, satellites and services are the government of India. And if the private sector thinks that it needs to enhance this space economy contribution of India from this 8 billion to a bigger number, it is not only essential that the government contracts are executed by the industry. Industry has to come up with some niche and new technologies. Instead of industry being a technology follower, whether new technology provider or innovator in this domain, is a requirement, and towards achieving this, what do you think the industries can look forward to, and what help do you think that they should get from organizations like ISRO?
I think it's a part of a maturing of an industry and a developmental cycle. In the early stages, it is always necessary that the government supports it, and this is exactly what we have been seeing. And that's why my first comment was about handholding of industry to be able to do things, which I can tell you out of my own experiences, the most audacious goal in terms of accuracy is to be achieved. If it was thought through by somebody, it had to be converted. Just for many people who may not know, a PSLV rocket motors are produced on a circumference with 200 micron tolerance. So imagine a 200 micron, 0.2 millimeters is what we are talking on circumference. So radially, we are talking of 0.06 millimeters. Now, this is something which I must tell you what actually started happening. And this is where the private sector started growing, is once you are able to do this ultra precision, there's so much other business which from the rest of the world started coming to India. And this aspect of what ISRO's contribution, we don't even measure. When we say ISRO's 1 rupee spent is 2.54, we don't even measure what are the spin-offs which actually contributed to ISRO. So today, one can say that quite sizable part of our industry, which used to be associated with this, let me not just say ISRO, but anybody in the strategic sector, has done enormously good to build up to what we now see as a confident India, which can truly go ahead and take up. Specific to space, when I start looking at, as a maturing industry, there comes a stage, and you see this to be absolutely complete in defense, not so much in nuclear because it is still being debated about its opening. But in defense, there are private companies today which right from technology to the complete platforms, everything is done in industry. There's obviously industry which is in public sector, there's industry in private sector. And once there's a possibility of a market, industry finds its own ways to invest.
So do I interpret that the numbers once they increase, industry also will be able to do this? Because anything we do in defense is in thousands and millions.
Absolutely.
Whereas in
that's exactly why I said, one sees this is a sector in which you see this real. There are people who can design and build warships, submarines, radars, anything and everything that you talk of for defense, simply because there's an economics. Now, the economics aspect in case of space, to my mind, the upstream that we keep talking about is essentially where some amount of support will continue to be needed. Where India would matter, to my mind, from going from 8.4 to 44 billion is not so much in the upstream. It's far more in the mid and the downstream. And this is essentially where it doesn't require big money. It only requires a sort of a vision, and it also requires to some extent some amount of handholding, which in space anyway is doing. But once you start saying that there's application, and early applications will have to be within the country. And to that extent, obviously what I understand, the whole of yesterday's event is all about every government department coming together and trying to say what is that you need. Once you start doing maybe 2%, the rest of the 98 opens. And this is what is our experience in the commercial sectors all over the world, that initiation has to be Indian. Once that initiation is proven, then the whole world is your market.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That brings me to the next point of concern for people like us who have been in this domain. That India being now a strong economy, now reaching the 4th position globally, and hopefully in the next 10-20 years, the per capita also will increase to the level of the developed nations. At that time, we do expect that the space spectrum is going to be a problem, because even today, we do not have up to Ka band any spectrum available remaining left for us to use. And the non-GSO spectrum is already all over the place. We don't have a presence also. Now, if we are going to wait for India to become a developed country and then looking for spectrum, we are going to find none, because it is going to be used by everyone. So as the wireless advisor, what is your thoughts on this? How India can reserve some potential spectrum when we are ready to put the NGSO constellation, or when we have the sufficient funding to do that, and when the country demands a huge amount of throughput from even a geostationary satellite. How do we plan to make this spectrum available to not only to ISRO, but all the private players who are ready to make the satellites? Revati madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that very important, I think
it is on.
It's a very important question. It's very close to my heart. Yeah, it's a big problem, especially with NGSOs. NGSO that orbit from 450 to around 1200 kilometers, it is flooded, and you know, people are filing with 70,000, 80,000, and even the Rwandan government has filed for 70,000. And how to reserve it for the future, that is little difficult, because when we file, we have to come up with the complete technical parameters, because all technical people here, they know, like if I'm going for a FSS like Starlink, what they are doing, or D2M, D2D, I will have all the parameters, link budget and all, I need to do it, and you have to give all the antenna, link budget at station parameters. So, but everything is not that worrying, because after space liberalization with in-space into existence, we have seen a lot of leapfrogging in these private satellite filings. And especially for the communication satellite, we have given to one Indian company, Ananta Technologies, at an orbital location at 89 degrees. We are all hand-holding them to get, it will be a first Indian private satellite with getting Indian orbital resource. And as far as Earth observation satellite is concerned, recently there is a consortium with 12 satellites that we are going to file. Already Dhruva Space, Galaxy and Pixel, they have made a lot of filings for the remote sensing Earth observation. And especially coming to the communication point, you are right. We are conceptualizing it now. I think communication satellites are little costly. Now, as DSA has told, we should have a national infrastructure. It should be government funded. So we should have a multi-LEO-MEO combination of a system. We should really work, and I see at least within a year we should be able to file. We are all working, and DOT is also pushing for it. With that, probably we'll be able to, will not be left behind. And I just will take half a minute. It's not only that, now we are at the ITU regulation also, we are actively participating to see that it will not on the first come, first serve basis. Because no nation should be left behind of this critical infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you brought up a very important point that it should be an integrated approach of the government taking the lead and taking this as a strategic asset of the nation rather than as a commercial activity. That brings me to the same point what the DSA Director General mentioned earlier. Should we not look at this in this direction, even the Earth observation data, because any satellite which is doing Earth observation, up to the level 0, level 1, the products are not really distinguishable between any agricultural use to defense sector use. They are all indistinguishable. So if we are going to dedicate satellites for the special user and those data is not available, actually we are spending so much of money but underutilizing it, because though the strategic user is using it, the same level 1 data is being made available to the private sector as well as to the governance. It's going to be a huge amount of applications and services coming out of it. What is your thoughts on this, sir?
Yeah, this is a very pertinent question, and especially after Operation Sindoor, we have already suggested to ISRO, and ISRO chairman has been kind enough. We are working out that proposal that it should be a national grid. Like I said, that we should not be talking of civil and military satellites. Even the strategic programs that we are working out, It should be a national grid which should be for common good as far as, as far as civil and military, civil and strategy community both are concerned. And we should be able to switch. For example, let's say Ops Sindhu 2.0 happens, we should be able to use the entire, entire bandwidth for the armed forces. And similarly, let's say, God forbid there is a calamity or something, we should be focusing on the quick recovery. And in any case, even at present it is happening. There are many ministries who do contact us, and especially we have given n number of images because of, because at various levels. So it is happening at present, but answer to your question, answer is definitely yes, and we should be talk of a national grid. And if I can take 30 seconds more on the communication, because that is going to be the focus area for next 2 decades, and that is something I think even we are, we are wanting it. I think that is an area of LEO, MEO, GEO we should be talking of. We should be talking of latency of 100 milliseconds at national level. We should be talking of redundancy at national level.
Thank you for that. And my next question goes to Director VSSC, Sri Rajarajan. While we are supporting the NGEs and all private sector participants and even educational institutions, space technology, particularly most of the activity related to the launch vehicle technology, are also dual use. They have very critical elements which are important for national security, and this kind of technology being taken by some unscrupulous elements can also lead to undesirable outcomes. While we are supporting the NGEs and the industries, how we can guard against this kind of issues? Because we can only do so much for the due diligence. Beyond that, how do we take care of that this technology does not fall into the wrong hands?
A very good question and an observation also. If you see the launch vehicle requirement per se, from the very beginning, the industries are partners in realizing. The drawings are exchanged, and we are always doing with many industries. Almost more than 100 industries are participating in many of the. We always put in a clause of non-disclosure agreement and all those systems. And also our quality personnel across centers goes through the system that's been put in place in many of the industries and how they very well keeping it for their own good. So basically, when somebody develops their capability, it is up to them to safeguard their capability and their know-how so that it is a part of their business, and at the same time, it gives them the leverage to participate in further activities for our launch vehicle program. And as he rightly pointed out, it has a dual capability and its strategic nature. So we always develop vendors and other aspect partners who has the requirement to keep it strictly under a guarded knowledge data bank, a good ecosystem in place. And as you would have seen, worldwide our every industries are every place. They put their own people. And likewise, we also have our own operation teams in different places at different industries, wherever it is being done. Because they are partners, but also the resident team does some of the job. But we also put a very good digital locked system for all this purpose, and a quality system which does this one, the services up to a point. Another point, as we go further, as a lot of things are going up, going to be a lot of participation from the industries, and many people are going to have their own designs and implementing these things. So it's the industries is going to be encouraged, and the institutions are also being encouraged.
Actually, my question is not only about ISRO's technology. I'm talking about even a private company develops a new technology.
Yes, that's what I'm coming to. So as we do like that, the institutions which are now going to develop their own technologies, like there are some people who are already into the launch vehicle technology. They also, as we are advised how they have to keep all their knowledge back in a very systematic manner, in a secured way, so that this knowledge doesn't goes out just like that either by individuals or by this one, just like that. So we encourage active intellectual property rights participation and recording it in both at the national level and at international level, so that people cannot simply copy or something and start using it from the commercial point of view. From the strategic point of view, the data theft or whatever you look at it as, maybe I can put it bluntly, that has to be safeguarded, and it should be in a safe system of the knowledge, and the people who are living, who is working on this area is always looked for their way of doing things. I think there are a lot of cues in many multinational companies of how they do their jobs and in a very transparent, but at the same time in a secured manner. So there are ways we are putting in place, and basically now both the lead centers, both URS and VSC, are actually putting in a system of safeguarding the same technology of what we are trying to safeguard and going across the concerned people. Same thing is now is already put in 2 of the industries already in place. I think it's up to them to safeguard their knowledge so that it augurs well for their industry growth. At the same time, envisage people to develop in the secure domain systems. I think the electronics lock and security system, as well as the knowledge, keeping the knowledge resource within the industries, wherever it's get developed, is also very important.
Maybe in addition, we can consider maybe InSpace and DOS can look at coming up with some guidelines like no poaching laws, which are there in the industry. In the big commercial conglomerates, they have a gentlemanly agreement. One will not poach people from the other or the data from the other company. Maybe we should advocate something, some guidelines at least.
Yeah,
nobody should be taken with the data.
Actually, this was already touched upon by Secretary DOS and Chairman InSpace in yesterday's in the gatherings of all the industries, that we should have a very clear, integral and an approach with integrity of who does what, and we don't go into their poaching. If at all such requirements comes, it's been done with a proper, transparent way, with a proper transactional way, so that the people respects and gives that they are well protected and they are free to do the development. So that's how the country can progress. So this system has to be put in place.
Okay, thank you for that. And we'll now move on to the other side of this argument. We have been talking mainly about the engineering aspects, but we'll now look at the scientific outcome of our space endeavor. Though we are all very happy with whatever has been done, whether a transformative science is coming out of our missions, and what is our preparedness in coming out with new missions, new payloads, and transformative science out of this. I would like to request Professor on your thoughts on whether you are happy with the way things are today, or if you would like something different to be done, what is that you would like to us to do differently?
Yeah, I think definitely things can be better as far as transformative research projects are concerned. I think one should divide it into 2 aspects. One is some things which are mission critical, where ISRO needs the support or assistance from academic institution. That can be in a small way, but maybe some critical aspects can be addressed by the academics. And the other is where academics play a larger role, where they think of very futuristic solutions, which then they, ISRO can adopt in its planetary missions. One model which is often thought of is the JPL, model with NASA. So I think one could think of such models where the riskier, explorations, especially when it comes to planetary science, where you may have to have, new ways of building construction material, right, in the, on Moon or on Mars or whatever, where you would need really fundamental research to be done. I think if India is to leapfrog and go ahead of other nations in space research, it would be very important that we develop such technologies also. And for that, I think academics plays a big role, because ISRO obviously has certain goals that it has to fulfill. So if academics are given a free hand on some aspects, as I said, you can divide it into 2. One where you need academics assistance for certain missions, and the other where you give the academics a freer hand in coming up with maybe crazy ideas, but some of them may pan out. I think that is the way in which we are going to have a transformative effect on research.
As we are running out of time, I'll follow on with the question to you only, and I will come back the backside. Now, the Director General DSA also was hinting about the need for human resource to be developed as we go towards 2047, where the amount of space technology that will get into not only strategic use elsewhere, the human resource that is ready to understand this and capable of utilizing it is also needs to be built up. Now, what are your suggestions as an academic yourself, how this can be heralded, and also whether there is any possibility of the universities and institutions like yours giving some credit to the students who undergo some certification courses from institutions like ours. So, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think what is missing is a scale right now. Institutions like IIC, IITs do produce students, but that's at a very limited number and limited scale. And there are also, as you know, programs where, ISRO scientists come and get additional training in our institutions. By the way, all the 4 astronauts got their Master of Technology from Indian Institute of Science. So that is something which, we are very proud of. But those are all on a very limited scale. If you want to really scale it up, it has to go to all universities and all other institutions. And there are multiple ways of doing it. One is to prepare, have a standardized, maybe, national space curriculum, which can then be propagated to all the universities so that many may not have the expertise, but they can, with help of experts from other established institutions and from ISRO, be able to execute the curriculum once it is given. So that way the number of people getting trained will greatly increase. And the other is through online courses and through credits being given to other courses. Even in all institutions like IIC, IITs, now we have the academic bank of credits where you can do courses elsewhere and get credit for those courses, and you can accumulate those credits for degrees. So I think it is very important that we use those technologies also. And it's also very important that we start using AI for space. I think this is something which has been underutilized. In research, of course, you can use it for reconnaissance and also, interpreting images. But I think even at the educational level, the scale can be amplified by use of AI tools, where you have personalized tutors for those who are interested in acquiring these skills, which are curated by experts, but then deployed on a mass scale using AI tools. I think these are it.
Thank you. And now moving on to the DGDSA. While the requirements of the forces are being consolidated and we come out with some configuration which can meet the requirements, one gap area which I myself have seen, in fact, when I was involved in the Mission Shakti development about 10 years ago, it took a very long time for people to understand what exactly was DRDO trying to do, because the information was not forthcoming or not being explained. So there must be a way that the people who are involved in this technology development, both government as well as the private sector, to know what are the needs of the forces. In fact, one when very senior retired military personnel told me that you people should be in the battlefield in the front line for a few months, then you will understand what is required. Now, there's a way we can bring this kind of knowledge to the technology developers. Do you think it is feasible?
Sir, I think that era which you are talking is almost over, because I must, I must confess that now the strategic community is is extremely open. Rather, you took name of DRDO. We have DSP DRDO because both DSP DRDO and DSA got raised through the same government sanction letter. And I think if I can talk on behalf of them, they are engaging n number of startups and the academic institutes. I don't want to name them, but they are doing it. Coming back to DSA, so as far as the requirements are concerned, I think in all these seminars, I myself cover the requirements of all the critical technologies that we need to work on. And additionally, we have almost, when we call companies for tech scan, and we do guide them because more importantly, it is very important that they know the requirement of the user which is going to happen in next 5 to 10 years. And they are heading in the correct direction. And that is, to some extent, if I can take the liberty of saying it is for the academic institutes as well. So the hand-holding is very strong because, like I always say, it is only the user handshake and the operational handshake which will ensure that we are progressing in the correct direction. Because in case we can develop technologies, but technologies don't fight war. The technologies have to be amalgamated into the overall operational matrix, and hence the importance of user handshake and operational handshake, and we are more open than that. Rather, we are extremely open.
Thank you. And we'll move on to Sri Jayant Patil. Now, everybody wants to be in the space technology domain, all startups and private companies. But one major area of absence of the private technology in the space domain is the ground equipment realization, especially RF and baseband equipment. Practically everything is coming from a single source monopoly from foreign countries. What do you think we can do to make our Indian industry take interest in this, which can really, when successful, it will become very, very lucrative area. Do you think that we can do something about that?
We certainly can do, but before I sort of talk on that, I would like to agree with Air Vice Marshal. Military, I have spent nearly 40 years of my career. You used to be an outsider, and that era is over. Today is an era where the user wants to welcome you, wants to handhold, which was never happening, I would say, 10 years back. But the scenario as a result is industry truly has built every possible capability, and if we say we are Atmanirbhar, we truly are Atmanirbhar, except probably handhold, maybe 3-4 technologies which truly need to come in. Now, one needs to see this in a perspective for a simple reason that over years, given a vision, it can always be done. And toward that vision, unconventional ways have to be found to be able to achieve what our long-term vision is. Now, specific to the communication segment that you talked of in terms of ground segment, lots of ground segment equipment we know have been built in the country. But they have only been built for the strategic use. They have not been built for the commercial use. And if I again look back in terms of why and how, we missed the telecom bus. The day the telecom boom in a way was brought into the country, imports were freely allowed. If it was slightly controlled at that point in time, today we would be talking a different game. And this is essentially what I mean by some of those interventions which at upfront they have to be brought in, and that's essentially where a government department truly matters. Once there is a clear decision that communication is something, if everybody else knows in the world, what is secrecy about your ability to communicate? And this is what can truly hurt India in times of crunch. And this is essentially where we need to be able to say there are things which we will allow somebody to do, there are things which will not allow others to do. It might take 5 years. My experience is if we go through a readiness to do to some extent, I'm giving a nice word to it, upvas. If we do an upvas for few days, we know our body improves. Same thing applies to the strategic side of it. If we simply say, I'm not going to get it from outside, you will find it happen. Why it doesn't happen is an existing player and a new player. The new player finds it extremely difficult to compete. And he knows that the tender conditions which will be always written, specifically in case of government, also in case of the private players, they actually will promote an existing equipment which actually will match the specifications of
Yeah,
what
we
is
say
in
this
market.
is the biggest old boys club.
That's exactly where it is. So that's exactly what I mean by, if we decide strategically we want to stop it, nothing is going to go wrong. Within 2 years, you will find everything happening in the country. If my belief is all strategic developments in the country, beginning, let's say, with nuclear and space, if 74 had not happened, where would be space? And everything space was denied, but everything happened in the country. I think that's a model that if we are denied, things have happened in India, and we need to only create that self-restraint to be able to promote what needs to be done and what can then thereafter happen in India.
Thank you. And anyway, you have answered partially the question I was keeping for Srimati Revati. So in this situation, where there are players who are keeping their satellites in orbit and waiting for business over India, vis-a-vis aspiring new entrant to that business of communication in India, instead of incentivizing the foreigner, how we can incentivize the Indian company? 1 minute if you can.
Yeah, especially we are talking about LEO, I think. The LEO communication, I'll focus on communication. So we are into space, we have satellites there, but the reality is you go to Northeast and Jammu Kashmir, still people doesn't have, yesterday I was listening to Northeast session, basic connectivity, still some issues. That means people, they don't want India or anyone, they wanted a connectivity. So that is the one they are driving. But as a government policy, we are trying to encourage startups and Indian satellite filings. That's what I started with that. But it is the public. Public wanted essential facilities. Nowadays, connection is the essential infrastructure. If we are not able to provide to each nook and corner of this country, I'm sorry, it's our failure. Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings me to the last question to our Director VSSC. One of the problems for increasing the numbers is problems associated with the manufacturing capacities and the supply chain bottlenecks what we have. We have been seeing it for our own programs, we have been finding it difficult. Now, what do you think should be done to bring out, to take out this as a bottleneck or a problem? How to enhance the supply chain reliability and manufacturing capacity enhancement? Because today we do not have a large numbers requirement, but somebody has to take that step and establish those manufacturing facilities. Then only tomorrow we can dream of becoming big. Your thoughts?
Again, as you rightly point out, ISRO, when we started the program in space area with all the precisions, as Dr. Jayant Patil observed, the industries got developed and we handheld the industries to do the print to build a lot of parts and components both for launch vehicle and spacecraft. But as we develop and increasing the quantity and requirement and we made it more stringent, the industries are able to come up. Now the question is, for the program for the space vision of 2047, and we have so many programs of more than 150 spacecraft and hundreds of launch vehicles to develop, we also have to note the government came with a space policy and it has been put in place. Many startup industries are put, and they have their own infrastructure and capacity building they have put in place. Now, it is up to the industries, like an automobile industries where a lot of expertise are available in different areas. There is a cross utilization of the facilities in the global area of these automobile industries. The same has to be applied, and people are doing this. Many of the electronic spare parts as well as the mechanical items, all those aspects has been the cross utilization of the expertise available in various industries is being used to develop their own vehicles and spacecraft and infrastructure. The same thing has to be now put in place at India. In basically the capacity built by the industries and the startups and the public sector as well as the industrial giants that have been already in place for the last 50 years. All the capacity building has to be monitored, and some specific expertise has to be developed from each industry, which can be leveraged across the industry for us to create more and more effective and affordable space assets and transportation systems in the coming days. And that's how we have to resolve
Thank you, Ragarajan. We are hopelessly out of time, and though about 60 questions are there, we don't have time to answer any of them. I hope that your questions will be recorded somewhere, and we'll try to pass on the answers to you. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the panel on the integrated implementation of national level for the space sector. Give a big hand to the panelists. And I'm very, very delighted at the positivism and the convergence of the ideas among the panelists, and it augurs well for our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our panelists, and I'm going to now request our Secretary, Department of Space and Chairman, Space Commission and Chairman ISRO, Dr. V. Narayanan, to please help us felicitate the presence of our moderator and our esteemed panelists. So, yes, sir. So we start with our moderator, Shri M. Sankaran, Director, U.R. Rao Satellite Center, ISRO. Can we have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to thank our moderator, please? Thank you very much, sir. And Shri A. Rajarajan, Director, Vikram Sarabhai Center, Space Center, ISRO. Srimati Revati Manapalli, Joint Wireless Advisor, WPC, Department of Telecommunications. Thank you, Madam. Shri J.D. Patil, Member in Space Board and former whole-time Director, Defence Space and Smart Technology, L&T. Air Vice Marshal Pavan Kumar, DG, Defence Space Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, can we continue with the applause? And I thank you so much for the applause. And Dr. Govindan Rangarajan, Director, Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. And we request you to please give us a photo opportunity with our chairman. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we break for a 45 minutes lunch. So I'm going to request you to please come back a couple of minutes before those 45 minutes are over, because we will have to take it to the next session. So I thank you very much once again. And ladies and gentlemen, for all our VIPs and our dignitaries, lunch has been organized at level 2 at the Leaders Lounge. And we have, for all participants, eminent participants, we've got lunch at Multipurpose Hall. So I invite you to please join us for lunch and then come back and just at 3:15. A couple of minutes before 3:15, ladies and gentlemen. So I request you to please come back to this room, the plenary hall, a couple of minutes before 3:15, so that we start the second panel discussion on time. And the second panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, is equally compelling. It is on space economy marching towards targeted achievements. You don't want to miss this. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the other side of this lunch break.